Well, hello and welcome everybody to Roll20Con. It is, oh man, this is the thing. It's been a hot minute since I've had a time in the hot seat on um, doing virtual tabletop again, and I need to remember my virtual tabletop etiquette all over again. I mean, Eric, I'm sure you probably know this, and Gabriel and Markia, actually everyone, because this is what we live in now. It's like the capacity to want to do look at that preview monitor. It's everywhere for me, and I have to kill it. I have to squash it like a bug so that I don't do that ever again.
Yeah.
So hi everyone, welcome to Roll20Con, to the Hunters Entertainment official stream. We are going to be playing some Outbreak Undead today, and I have some friends, some very wonderful, fun friends who are going to be joining today. Some who I get to spend every single week with, like Markia McCarty. Hi, Markia. Oh, she's eating. I can't even.
Hey,
Busted.
yeah, I
People are-
stuffed my mouth full of food right before the stream, but it's all good now.
It's all good. Yeah, I mean,
It's all good.
we all have to eat, and we're all at home, so it's totally okay. Some people who I only had the pleasure of playing a little bit with, Gabriel Hicks. Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
Good to see you.
I'm good. I'm excited. So I've seen the Outbreak Undead system.
Okay.
And watched it. This is my first time playing.
Oh, well, what, I mean, not to be that guy, but what did you think? I mean, you said you had a chance to watch it play, and then you get a chance to look. What did you
Yeah.
impressions?
It's terrifying in a way that I want to enjoy it. Like I feel like that's the purest explanation. It's like things can go so badly. I want to see how that happens. And I mean this in the most pure way. The fact that I get to see how that works with Markia specifically, like I am here for it because I'm gonna be behind her the whole time.
That's great. I mean, I don't know if you've played the game Don't Starve or Don't Starve
Yes.
Together, but what I've been learning quickly is that that's a game where, you got a plan, you're moving through it, you're doing your stuff right, and then all it takes is just one turn, and then it's all
Yeah.
downhill.
Yeah, I'm terrible at it. I have never not starved in that game. Like in the first week, I make
Right.
weapons and then I don't kill anything.
Yeah, then it's done. It's
Yeah.
done. So welcome to the tabletop version of that. And
I'm excited.
Adriel, so I don't mind saying, but you got the chance to play our new game coming out here pretty soon, Ragnarok. You got a little taste of that.
Yes, that was super fun to play test that, but I've never actually played Outbreak Undead. So I've seen y'all play it, but I haven't like actually played it myself. So I'm excited for that. So
Well,
it looks terrifying.
It's funny because it is. I mean, especially if you look at the book, but the two books, the Game Master's Guide and the Survivor's Guide. I mean, it's intimidating. You put them all together, and it's like 500 to 600 pages of content, right? But when I
Yeah.
talk about Outbreak Undead to people, and we've been, by the way, this is like our premiere product. This was our first game we ever did, and then we recently popped into the second edition of it in the last couple of years. But I tell people, it's like, yes, it's intimidating, but it's the same way that, like, when you go to a mechanic's workshop and they have those giant rolling stands, those giant tool carts that have like 12 drawers, or they open up like an armoire, and then they've got flat beds, and there's tools everywhere across it. Like Outbreak Undead is like that armoire of tools. You look at it and you're like, that is an ton amount of tools. But you don't need all of them to run your game. If you just want to, like, you just pull a hammer if you want and go and get a couple nails in. It doesn't mean you have to go and grab every single accoutrement in order to work on a project. They're just there and available to you. So that's why we categorized it in like the into Weekend Warrior, Survivalist, and then, wow, I'm actually forgetting the first one. Shows. Good job. Chris is going to kill me later. But that's why we break it down into those levels, because when you pick up the game, if you just want to read all the rules that have the green stuff just to get into it, and even on our character sheets on Roll20, so if you go onto Roll20 and like select a game, you can actually use our official Hunters Entertainment Outbreak Undead character sheets. They actually have color coded on the character sheets as well too. So if you're just playing a green game, then all you have to do is pay attention to those parts of the character sheet. So it's fine. It's in but in spirit, as we've all talked about, it is definitely a thing and a process. But I wanted to finish my thought by saying, and people I haven't seen but love and haven't played a game with in forever, Eric Campbell, I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, it's been a bajillion years. It's been since at least the GNS days.
Yeah, that's the part that gets me, and that does literally feel like a generation ago with how 2020 has basically aged us all 5 years.
Cretaceous period.
The golden era. Now
it's been pretty wild. And I confess I was a little nervous about Outbreak Undead because I'm such a soft boy, and I'm like. I'm such the type of like, I just want to be like, if in the world of Outbreak Undead, if it were possible, I would be Mercy Main. Like I'd be the healer of like everybody kind of thing. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be cut out for this. I'm going to be food for everybody in about 20 minutes in. Cause I'm the type of person who's like, when we're playing Mario Party, I'm like, oh, you got the star. Good for you, man. Meanwhile, I'm just getting demolished. So
I mean, it's fine. You won't be the first and you won't be the last. But the good news is I can tell you in this particular world that we're playing in, it's not like We're Alive Frontier where I'm pitting you up against some of the worst people imaginable. Like this Strain series, the fog is truly you against the elements. And by the elements, I mean this visceral, huge, like over empowering fog that is everywhere. And it's one of the reasons I dove into this particular Strain series so much, because survival horror can be so focused on like the creatures or the people and things like that. And so rarely do we get an opportunity to be like, well, what about the terrain? And what about like how the world around you, like how can I make something as simple as like climbing up an 8-foot wall, literally the most dangerous thing on the planet, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Which is very much what this session is going to be about. It's about you, if I'm being honest, and I apologize to all of our viewers out there, you're going to be watching these players doing very, very simple, basic things that literally mean a lot between the difference of life and death, you know? So yay. No judge, but I know I sent out information around the game last night. Do I need to read in our scenario again so that you understand and kind of have a little bit of a taste? Or should we do what a lot of great survival horror does and let the exposition speak for itself as far as situations go?
I'll follow y'all's lead, whatever y'all want to do.
Yeah. Gabriel?
For whatever.
Yeah.
I say do the exposition, then it'll if someone has that moment of, oh damn, like it's like
okay. See, I'm all about it. See, I'm all for sexy exposition when it comes to like, we know nothing, here we are. But you know, because you all read what I wrote, so you all have an idea of what's going on, and so we can kind of get into it. But just for the basics so that people can understand a little bit is that this is a session we're calling Strain Series Fog. This has been something I've just been tuttering around with. I think I came up with it when I had to run a game for PAX East, like umpteen years ago, like 4 years ago or something like that. And I had to run a custom session with a bunch of people who won a contest, and decided that I wasn't just going to run another module. I was going to do something that they actually were interested in. And we came up with this Strain series at the table all together, and it kind of turned into a thing, which is fun, right? So I'll just say real quick, little bit of what's the word we call it? A little bit of housekeeping. Thank you, Roll20, for hosting this amazing weekend of gaming and online virtual gaming. We are very, very grateful to be able to have a lot of cool products available on Roll20. So if you'd like to check out the Outbreak Undead stuff, it's available to you. We also have like the Kids on Bikes compendium. And then we've also recently released the Alice is Missing module that you can go and download and run remotely this game, which hasn't even hit the States yet. It's literally on a boat over here right now. We got the little boxes and they look amazing. Oh, and because I can, and because whatever, I half own this company anyway. I'm going away for a second so I can do this. Okay. Yeah, here you go. Hi, sweetie. Come here.
Weird when we can't see.
Oh, I was expecting like a cat.
hey.
Oh, altered
Oh
carpet.
wow.
Yeah.
That sure looks like Eric Ishii.
That is a big old Eric
in the
Ishii
house.
with aluminum tattoos over there and that spot glass. See that sweet spot glass?
Oh.
It's a big old beautiful book, y'all. And so this is coming also to that's
Wow.
Claire
Ooh.
Max right there. So
Yes.
Wow.
I'm so here for it.
Man, it's an RPG book filled with people I know. That is so surreal.
Yeah,
So
it's
surreal.
It's funny because if you pick up Outbreak Undead 2, you'll see like these two games in particular have a lot of photo comps, and we have the pleasure of being able to do photo shoots in order to do the art assets inside of it. So a lot of familiar faces, James Hudson, like Claire, Knoxweiler, Burf, our own producer. We shot it over in his perfectly apocalyptic background area, and it's awesome. So okay, let's play a game, shall we?
Do it.
So we have a few questions to answer first, and I know that we have the four of you have basically picked some characters that we had in place for this session, and you've already had the chance of naming them, and I'm so proud of you. Usually I name my characters last to be able to get into it, but I did have a few small things that I want to go over. The fog is pretty much prevented you from going outside for as long as you have chosen to stay inside. And for one reason or another, you four and potentially a few other people are the only ones that have managed to hold up inside of some kind of place of safety. And the only places that are safe from the fog are either really high, like 1,000 feet above sea level, or underground. So I would like to propose to you that in this world in which this vast fog covers, as far as you know, the known area around you, and it has not diminished at all since it first started appearing in the world, what are you feeling like your place of refuge is? Is it underground, or is it high above in the mountaintops?
I kind of feel like it's a number of cabin, like kind of like a cabin commune, like let's say like a summer camp of cabins that exists higher above the fog type of a deal that we kind of stumbled across that.
So you want like a broken down summer camp is what I'm hearing. You want like multiple log cabins, but you're a little higher in the mountains. Is that what I'm hearing, Kia?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with it, and the reason that we stumbled across it is because it was off season, and but doesn't mean that they weren't preparing for the season, which is why we have supplies.
Is there a world in which maybe you four commandeered this place for your own private retreat or something like that before this this incident, I could say, moved in? And you're talking about it being a retreat that like has multiple situations. Are you all responsible for more people? Adriosa, are you responsible for a bunch of people, or is it mostly just you four?
I feel like it would mostly just be us four. We just kind of commandeered it. It was abandoned, and all the supplies and everything's ours. There's not really much of a settlement here. Like, we were the first ones to find it.
Is there a chance that, well, how did the rest of you feel about being associated with a larger group, but we were like, that there were different scouting parties that were expected to find stuff, be gone for a few months or such. So maybe we have contact with a larger group, but we don't have to associate with them unless we like feel like we found something.
I love that.
Good idea. I like it.
I will also probably take it one step further and say that you potentially were a much larger group, but now it is just the four of you that are left.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we did go scouting, and because we went scouting, we're the ones who lived.
Maybe you were the last remnants of what was a larger group, and you have no idea where that old group is. In fact, I'm a huge fan of that. You four decided to go out and strike out on your own, and you found this location, but were unable to get back for one reason or another.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. I think that's fun. Um, and I will say, so that is a one part we can get into it. But Eric, how many times have you gone out since being in this new location at this point?
You mean
There-
wandered off site?
Yeah, like how many times have you emerged from your safe space, so to speak?
I feel like he doesn't wander out of sight of this place.
Right.
The farthest
Okay.
he's ever been out is just beyond a tree line where he can immediately return.
Okay. Well, I think
Playing it really safe.
in order to make this situation work, and what I think is, in order to really kind of give the isolation that we really need in order for this scenario to take place, is I feel like your log cabin, your little commune that you put together, was part of a rock climbing camp. Okay, which means that you had to take ostensibly like a pretty, I would say more than amateur kind of hike in order to get up where you're doing switchbacks in order to basically get up into a higher space because your I would say axis of ascent would have to be pretty dramatic in order to be able to get from a place in which you are no longer in the fog to you are in the fog. So this isn't a, gentle hike, coming down from, the mountains or whatever. We're talking about like you're having to basically climb a couple of ladders to get to where you are to be able to get up and down appropriately so you can have that kind of again that cutoff that makes the amount of sense for this. And as a huge part of this as well too, you're going to be dealing with the fact that there's not very much arable land where you are. This little crag that you've made is mostly rocky. It's very mountainous. You're on a mountain, right? But then there's not a whole lot of available resources to you. The fauna that may have been available at that stage has either been hunted out, depending on how long you've been here, or is incredibly, incredibly reclusive. So, and I'm a huge advocate of kind of basically putting you on a mountain peak, right? Little tiny mountain peak with a couple of cabins that are meant in order to entertain people who are out for rock climbing in this place. So, and honestly, state, city, none of it matters in the fog because once you're in there, your visibility is incredibly limited. We're talking like thick pea soup kind of attitude, 5 feet. When you were initially making the scouts coming out in here, you were going blind, and I would say that one of the first tactics that you potentially use. We'll get into exposition. Like we'll make this happen. I don't want.
Well, can I ask you a question then, Ivan?
Yes, please.
With fog, I know that it gets worse when it's like humid. What kind of weather is it like right now?
Well, in general, to your point, Gabriel, like humidity is everywhere. Like
Yeah.
whether you're in the fog or not, it is a swampy texture
Yeah.
almost all the time. Like you've got a rainforest, like jungle, like sheen upon you, even when you're sitting at like 2,000 feet. Kind of
Wow.
a situation, and it's
Terrifying.
intense and it's thick. And as you get deeper and deeper into the fog itself, it becomes that like moisture that is so intense. And you don't know if other people may have tried to do this, they've taken samples in the past, but every piece of like sampling or electronic equipment that people have attempted, or at least you have attempted to try to find any kind of composition to this thing as you can, has failed pretty much upon contact with this thing. So
Awesome.
Yeah, we're talking very, very, yeah, we're looking at, I think we're saying now it's a swampland, but
Cool.
it is a swampland that exists within this elevation kind of band that we're
That's
dealing
awesome.
with.
Yes.
So let me go into this bit. Let me hear a little bit about your characters, and I want to ask them a few questions. So, Marquis, I see that you've named your character Nessa. Can you tell me a little bit about her first?
Yes. Nessa Green is very outdoorsy and a person that works a lot with her hands. Before the apocalypse, she was a type of Etsy carpenter. And she
Etsy
had,
carpenter.
yes,
Okay.
she had a number of different Etsy sites. This is very normal.
Okay.
A number of different Etsy sites dealing with carpentry, which, you know, and wood and craftsmanship with her hands. She had a Green Mortuary online where she would detail covers for caskets. So you could get a cheaper casket somewhere else, and she would fit the dimensions for an intricate casket top type of a deal. Along with that, she had a number like green witchery online. It was basically her last name and then what she was making, and then online for the other part. And she would do a number of things for people that were spiritually minded, with different yeah, basically keeping it open to other people, where it's like these are the custom things that I would make. And she would have things from like walnut to you know, other types of wood, mahogany, and so forth. And yeah, very much nature oriented, very much animal oriented. But she's still in mourning for the past 2 years of the death of her, or the passing of her Chow Chow Ari that she loved, but unfortunately did not make it through the apocalypse.
Was animals kind of her only friend, or did she find some kinship in the three that you're traveling with today?
She did find kinship with these three people for varying degrees of reasons. Before then, she was very much focused in on her business because she was trying to build enough capital to be able to take that to another level, and to also to travel to different countries to be able to expand her knowledge, kind of like a chef would with food. She wanted to do that for carpentry.
So I would ask the question, but it sounds like you've already answered it. What did she have to sacrifice in order to survive at this stage?
Well, she had family that she chose not to try to find. Um, for one, she didn't think it would help in any way to try to find them, and she didn't want it to be where she just pops out of the blue with
Okay.
them.
All right. So she made an active choice to ostensibly abandon the people who were close to her in this regard, and choose to self-survive instead of make any kind of effort to try to find them.
Exactly.
Great. What did she have to learn in order to survive?
She had to learn how to be in a community of other people, like
Okay.
to rely on other people, because she was doing all this business stuff with herself and she was forging her own way forward. She basically, people were in their categories, in their compartments,
Mhm.
and that's what they were good for. And now she realizes that she can't survive with just doing it to herself, so she has to be able to rely on others.
She can't be on her own anymore, and she's maybe butted some heads in that process of trying to discover that, where she's trying to showcase her independence, but has also learned that she needs to rely on a few people in order to basically get through this, which is
Yeah.
the fog. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you for giving us a little slice of Nessa in this regard. Uh, Eric Campbell, I see you chose Niles Brenner as your character. Can you tell me a little bit about who this individual is that's chosen to survive in this group?
Yes, Niles Brenner is a former Catholic priest who was a chaplain at Colorado State Penitentiary.
Okay.
He went through all of the standard things that he followed the very typical trajectory of someone who studied divinity and went through all of the vows, took on the cloth, and his life on the before all of this happened, his life was actually rather unremarkable. He just kind of followed that path. Nothing really unique.
The stones were very clear. That was very the pathway was laid before him, and they knew exactly what destination they were getting to, salary and all. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So
so he worked at a very difficult job, obviously, a very challenging job for what he did, but he believed in what he was doing. The thing he sacrificed and he left behind was his faith.
Okay. Yeah, he's lost his faith. All right. So there was a pathway here, and that pathway was cut.
It is, his faith is a shatter point in his life. It was already kind of taking on a bunch of things already. You know, he was already being tested on a daily basis, and the whole event really made him. Yeah, he basically his entire identity was lost.
So, do you feel like Niles is on autopilot now, as far as
Niles kind of reminds me a little bit of Amos from The Expanse, where he seems incredibly emotionally detached and a little unplugged from reality around him, to the point where most of the time he's kind of relying on others as his compass.
Okay.
Like
so instead of relying on God, he's now relying on the people around him in order to guide him to where.
Yeah, I honestly think it's where his mind went, because the break when he left behind what he believed in, that was such a turning point in his life that it literally caused him to lose any kind of compass that he had.
Okay.
And it exposed a very raw, darker side of himself that he's kind of shuffled away and leans on people that he cares about.
Okay. But yeah, I get you. He's being a bit of a moral leech, it sounds like. So understood. With that said, Gabriel, I see you've picked Jonah Fox as who you'd like to play. Oh, I'm so sorry. Before I hop into you real quick, I do need to ask Niles, what did you have to learn? What did Niles have to learn in order to survive as well, too? What's something that he had to pick up, no longer being a chaplain, but now a survivor?
I think he had to learn ruthlessness.
Ruthless, okay. Has he killed yet? Okay. Right. Has this group seen it?
I think so, yeah. I think he would have immediately told them about it. And he would have done so in almost like an alarmingly childish kind of way, like, well, I mean, I left the body over there, kind of like, almost like he didn't fully understand the magnitude of what he did, which further hints at his state.
He's putting up a shell.
Yeah.
Understand. Okay, now Gabriel, aka Jonah Fox. Who are you? Who is this person?
Jonah Fox is someone who was an interpreter at one point. He worked with at least 2 or 3 different languages, and I'd say it was probably how he ended up meeting his partner. Language is something that he wanted to use to connect people and bond people, even in a sense of chaos and a practical apocalypse.
And where is that partner? Is that part of the survivor group, or is that what Jonah had to sacrifice as part of?
So the partner has been gone for years and years. What he had to sacrifice was he accidentally left the wedding ring somewhere that had then become overrun or engulfed in fog, and it was probably the last tangible thing he had, but he had to leave it behind because a dead person cannot wear a ring the same.
Okay. And was this a simple band, or was it an ornate kind of?
It was very ornate. It was honestly probably like something flashy, unexpected. The ring itself was probably like a snake biting its tail.
I see. So like an Ouroboros of some kind of take into it.
Exactly.
All right. Interesting. And then what did Jonah have to pick up as far as skills or something, a lesson they had to learn in order to be now part of this new world?
No matter how much I may cherish a thing, I can do nothing with it if I'm dead, no matter how much I want it.
All right. So Jonah has ostensibly basically turned into that if I can't carry with it, I don't need it, or if I don't need it, I don't want it kind
Correct.
of situation. So,
Exactly.
all right. Yes. So, and of course, last but not least, Adriel, I see you picked Sam. Just Sam.
Yes.
Interesting. So, is everyone only know you on a first name basis? Is that as far as much you've let out with this group?
Yeah, this group only knows me as Sam. However, her actual name is Samantha De Oro. And she's actually from a town nearby. She's from a town close to this one. And she used to live on a ranch with her family.
Okay. So she was on a ranch. Was she like a rancher's daughter, or was it kind of? Yeah.
She was the rancher's daughter, the oldest, and she was about to inherit it, actually.
Oh, all right.
And she was, her life was leading up to this moment, and then the fog happened.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So if I'm thinking about this, then kind of helping zero in the location, just hearing you talk about it, and I'm imagining in my brain like you've got to be in like a Utah or like a Zion National Park kind of an area where there's high plateaus, but then the footlands, once you start getting off of the mountain, leads into cattle ranch and farming territory a little bit.
That is exactly, the Kaibab Plateau. That's what I'm basing this off of.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm perfectly happy to set our little adventure in Zion National Park today. So, because I'm sure that there will be some people out there who will check elevation and be like, "There's no way it could be." It doesn't fit 1,000 feet. But for purposes of our story today, we're going to have a dramatic mesa that you're basically sitting on top of. So
nice.
Okay, so what did Sam? I mean, the farm. Obviously, it sounds like the thing they had to sacrifice. But was there? Was there any skills or anything they had to pick up to basically live now that they had their entire life turned on their head?
Yeah, what she had to, the skills she had to pick up and learn was learning to process the emotional turmoil of losing people she loved, her favorite horse. She's, she has tough skin. She learned it from the ranch life. She could deal with a horse kicking her off, but
not that horse dying.
Yeah, not losing the horse. Yeah. So, or, her family. So she's learning to process that while surviving.
Okay. Well, I'm going to bring this up then now because again, I'm just trying to think about how I want to put all the little puzzle pieces into place from where you are living in this mesa, this again, situation where you've all managed to come together and you've all lived into it. I'm going to tell a little story about how I think you all came together, but I'd also like to be able to take the time to pass the ball so that you can all fill out the details a little bit, just so that we can get to that stage where you are right now. Okay. So Nessa, Jonah, and Niles were basically part of a group together who was out in the local territories, like maybe a festival of some sort. Like you were in town in order to explore a local flavor activity. Niles, what do you think that could be? Something fun that you all could have explored together or met up at in the same way that like an Oktoberfest kind of a situation.
And so these are activities that are still happening today.
Excuse me. Yeah, we're talking pre-outbreak. We're gonna tell a quick little 5-minute story about how we got from day 0 to now. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I would have been a priest back then.
That's right.
So
yeah. You would have been a priest, potentially in town for what?
Honestly, probably some time. You know what? I think it would have been fun if I was in town for like a summit, or like a gathering, as it were.
Got it. Then Niles, basically, as you're coming in for this summit, they're a hunter's gathering. Okay, Jonah, thank you. Niles, as you're kind of walking along the street, getting ready to come into the summit, understanding that you're going to be coming in along your pathway, the world turns on its head quickly, briefly, fast as a car speeds up and basically cranks on the brake and pulls next to you, and it's basically a large van with a huge amount of people. And this moment occurs while there's screaming kind of rolling up around you as you start to see this like billowing motion, moving kind of tidal wave of this fog that's coming across. But this van hops in, and one of you, Nessa, you basically yell to him, get in the car. And Niles jumps in without even realizing what's going on at the moment, just acting on response, and the screaming kind of motivating you, the flight feeling inside of you. You hop in and you peel away out of town, driving as fast as you possibly can as you hear screaming behind you. Confusion, questions, all of it, none of it has answers. But you do eventually find yourself, I would say, in a group not too far out of town, and I would say Sam's ranch at this case, where Sam, you are basically gathering together. Your father or your mother or your family together has basically taken refuge for people who are running out of town. But there's so much confusion. People are just trying to run away from this thing, but it's slowly creeping, going through the tart, and even though it's, by the time you get into the ranch, the entire town has been consumed. You probably have 20-30 minutes to pack what you need, because no one's coming out, and the people that are coming out of that fog are not human by any stretch of the imagination. So the four of you are part of a larger group, as we talked about earlier. And what happens is that you basically found, because all ranches, as all good ranches do, they have like a pantry that's underground. So Sam, what normally would you, like, who would have taken initiative on this? Would this have been something that you would have done, or one of your other sisters or your brothers or your family? Who would have taken charge to get all of the survivors into the basement?
It would have been me.
Okay. Yeah. You would have dragged everybody down. Jonah, you were there as part of this group coming into it, but at what, like, I would say, who did you latch onto in order to try to take care of as part of this process of going into, like, basically being dragged from this town for this event? He was talking about a summit, but why were you in the town at the time?
Sam?
No, I'm Jonah. My bad.
With this group of people, I assume there were some language barriers, and my job was to bridge that gap.
Okay. So you were in town potentially, I mean, as an interpreter, absolutely, you would be doing that with the group that's inside of there. And just being in that town, exploring an event, being run in. But who did you latch on to basically want to take care of as you got into this basement where Sam is issuing a dozen or so people into this basement?
Probably Niles, of anyone in the group, because Niles has potentially what might come across as a sense of nihilism that Jonah probably needs more of in his life.
Got it. Okay. So you kind of took him under your wing, at least tried to provide that emotional support as, again, all of these things are happening. Terrifying things happened while you were in this basement. Nessa, what was one of them?
Terrifying things that happened outside while we were in the basement,
or inside. What is
inside the
terrible?
basement?
I mean, you tell me. There's I mean, when knowing what you know, what I've written about the fog and the things that have come across, what is an awful thing that occurred while all of you were in this basement together?
One of the people that came into the basement with us didn't entirely escape the fog, so they were literally still being eaten away with things, screaming on the floor, and there was little that we could do. There were people that then, trying to think of ways that you neutralize acid, were trying to like throw things on them with what was inside of the basement, but
alkaline
their
powder
knowledge was wrong or whatever it was, and then this person just kept on screaming.
It lasted for hours, the pain, and even after the kind of burning sensation, and the skin, was pockmarked with blisters and redness and skin peeling off. The pain was just ever ending. And even with, the limited amount of medical supplies that Sam, you would have as part of just being on a ranch with medical kits like burn gels, any of that kind of stuff, none of it was good. Eventually the pain was so intense and so increased that all they could say, the only words that they could get out of their mouth years later, was kill me. Please, for God's sake, end the pain. Kill me. Someone had to do it. Who was it?
Sam.
Is this for me to decide?
No, I'm just saying. Who
It
needed
could
to
have
do
been
it?
any one of us that killed them.
Any one of you, or it could have been someone in the group with you.
Maybe that was the first person I killed.
Oh, okay. All right. So you ostensibly fired the first shot in this new world, so to speak. All right. So after putting this person down, it was a somber time in which you ate food, you lived, you attempted to do everything you can to survive. Weeks went by, and it was unsettling. Niles, you were dealing with now watching this person suffer and going through that emotional trauma, and eventually getting to the point where that, like you said, that nihilism that Jonah was starting to relate you with, as it breaks down, right?
Mhm.
And Nessa, why were you in town in this event? Like, what was the last thing that you got to enjoy in this world before being shut up in a basement for weeks?
Nessa had come off of a family reunion in Macon, Georgia, and had gone to this gathering, this festival, as a precursor to her starting to get out into the world and try to, get more different ways of shaping wood, different ways of being able to say what's in her head and have her hands be trained for what she wanted to do.
Was this her first embark? Like, this is basically a family reunion because this is the first time that she's been out on her own using her trade to try to make her own income, to strike out on her own, so to speak. Is this the first time the bird's been back to the nest?
Outside of what she did with her website that had been more local, and she was trying to like up the ante with that, so she came out here. This was her being on her own.
Okay, yeah. She's on her own,
making her contacts.
Well, in that sense, you now, found this new place in this place, and it's so dark, by the way. Oh, it's so dark, because even after morning should have arisen, the light was a shadow of what it should have been. The light permeating down into the iron shutters, like, because it's a tornado, like it's a, if for all intents and purposes, I know we're not talking Zion is a huge, or Utah is a huge tornado area, but when you have anything down, you had a nice sturdy. Okay, I think we lost everything there for a bit. The tension was broke the internet, and the fog broke our infrastructure down. But what I was going to say, and what I think is important to note here, is that even though this transitionary time in this shed where you're eating food, attempting to survive, dealing with the outcome of the world that it is now, something happened, and it changed your lives forever. And it was the visit of 4 people in hazmat suits. And I would say not even 4 people, I'd say more than 4 people in full-blown hazmat suits with masks and garb and everything. And they basically came into and started to involve themselves into your base here. Even after opening it, and trust me, no one wanted this door to be open, but they forcibly opened the door. A scuffle broke out, and a fight ostensibly occurred between the people in these hazmat suits and your group, because these people were trying to force themselves in. But at the same time, your group, terrified of what the fog could do and the fact that people in hazmat suits are coming in as well too, were scared and reacted accordingly. So, fast forwarding to this, to even get into it, you all managed to get out of this situation. But more importantly, you are all able to get out fully protected and covered. in these full-blown plastic suits. Everyone died. Everyone in that basement died except for the four of you. People were driven insane. There was chaos and anarchy. Jonah, I imagined at some point you had to pull Niles just from the brink of blankness as you had to shove him in and grab a hold of things. Sam and Nessa, I imagine that you had to, it was a response. It was a fight response. Like at one point you had to get something in order to feel safe. Sam, what was the tipping point for you in that scuffle that led you to believe that you needed to get out of this situation right now?
Tipping point was when one of the hazmat suit people pulled out a weapon to subdue somebody who was, understandably scared, frightened, and so they kind of went after one of them. And as soon as they pulled out their weapon, I went for the 12 gauge.
Yeah, and you put one right in between it, and you broke that suit. You broke him, and it fell on the ground, and that just started the whole process. You were either going to subdue and become a hostage situation where you were the hostages, or you were going to take control, and you made that choice. That's what you did, and as a result, there are three other people who are with you, and you did manage to get out, and you did manage to find a van in which these people brought with you, and grabbing whatever you could carry and putting the suits on as much as you possibly could, getting what you kind of protection you could. You ran into the fog and into this van and drove until the van broke down. Where did it break down, Jonah?
I think it broke down, those like small towns where the homes look similar, but like there's enough space in between them that they each have yards, and then there's like that one mom and pop like bakery shop. I think it broke down somewhere around there. It's the kind of place that if there's people walking around and everything, it's happy, but when there's no life, it's so terrifyingly empty.
Yeah, it is like the cardboard stand-up town that you see when they're doing atom bomb testing.
Yes.
Where it's just
that's creepy.
Just desolate. And the challenge is, Jonah, is in this process, it was empty and alone. But the thing that truthfully made it the worst were just the bodies.
Yeah.
So many bodies. And all of them laying on the ground, burnt, crisped, anything, cloth just starched and crisped to the point of where you could take a finger and break it off if you wanted to, just to see it go. At the same time, for all intents and purposes, simple things like bags of bricks, bags of chips, and cereal that's the box completely burnt through and decayed and falling apart, but the actual bag itself, fine, absolutely fine. And this is what you live off of, and you eat when you can. As you travel from town, all the fresh fruit and produce gone, rotted, just to the point of where it's not even decayed. Like, oh, this is a bad apple and it's turned brown. We're talking like you could take it and press it with your hand, and it would turn into mush. But again, this is any preserved plastics that you can hold on to, you consume and eat. You don't dare take the suits off for a while. And as time goes by, you realize the filters that are in your masks, as time goes by, it continues. Like several hours of perfectly fine moving around is okay. But at some point, it starts to burn. It starts to hurt to breathe. And that's when you have to take and replace the filters in order to make sure that you can keep walking without having to succumb to the fog around you. And the walk lasts for a while. You grab what you can, you backpack, and you make your way up from this little circuitous town that you're talking about, and you find a pathway. And from the van, you do something that is really clever. I'm going to say, Nessa, something you came up with. It's a string. It's a simple string where you tie it to the handle of the truck, of the van that broke down. You lay out as much as you can as you continue to walk into it. But it does run out eventually. But it's something you keep in mind down the road as a process. And now I want to, because this is great. I this is not something I normally get to do, to kind of like fast forward all the way from day 0 leading up to today right now. But I want to get to our actual story, because this is all leading up into the choices that you make right now, which is you are up on this mesa. You have found your way up there. You have grabbed what supplies you could from the back of this van, but it is out. It is running out. Whatever you've managed to scavenge from this poor little broken down one street town of which there is nothing left is there. And beyond food, something else demands that you go back into the fog. Sam, what is it?
Something else.
What's another supply? Or Niles, do you have something? Because I see your brain.
I was just thinking the sound of a crying child.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to have another character. Yes.
No, we are such sadists.
You hear something. I think that's fair. And crying child or not, there are voices, and you can hear them, and it is coming from down the hill.
Oh God.
And it is just shrieking. It's one of those situations where it's impossible to tell what it is exactly, but it doesn't sound like the screaming pain that you are so used to hearing when the fog succumbs and pulls someone together. So yes, let's start there. All right.
Oh, no.
Our story begins with all of you sitting around a very poor meal of Twinkies and corn chips and bottled soda. The water went out a long while ago. You haven't really found any dilution to make the spring water that's up here yet too, and God knows if it's come in contact with any of the fog yet from where it is. You haven't really taken the time to explore it too much. And you're sitting over a Sterno can when Niles, you bring up the fact that you heard a voice today.
Okay. He's very nonchalant about it. He'll just kind of say, heard a voice in the fog today, as he's eating like stale Frito.
Are you hydrated enough? Are you sure it was not a hallucination?
Could have been a hallucination.
Could have been a mountain goat.
Could have been a mountain goat.
We could eat that.
Did it sound like it said any words to you?
No, I didn't really recognize any words. It sounded just did it sound like a cry, Ivan? What was it exactly? What did it sound like?
It was like I'd say a wail, like a baleful wail. That's why it's so confusing, because it didn't sound like it was in pain. It just sounded more like it was sad.
All right, he sits with that for a second as he's kind of recalling what it felt like. And and after taking a moment, he just says, no, it sounded like agony. Emotional agony.
Well, and not for nothing, Shug, but are you completely certain you actually heard a voice?
Yeah, I mean, I could have hallucinated it. Could be nothing.
We don't know what this fog does to us, so maybe it might have been a hallucination or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you want to see if the fog clears up in that area? If it's spread somewhere else, do you want to go look?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If you guys want to do that, I'll go along with it. Yeah.
I will say I wouldn't mind us looking around as safe as possible, of course. Just for the simple reason that I'm wondering if maybe there can be some sort of filter that can be made with natural ingredients. I mean, we've seen a lot of things that have uh, capitulated to the actual fog, but then other things do not. So perhaps we could find a natural remedy for things if we keep our eyes open.
You know, I trust your crafting skills. You make a lot of cool stuff, so we do find some materials. Maybe we can make our own filters.
I make like little animal figurines.
I mean, it's
Like
better than
that.
nothing.
You know, but maybe a filter of some type. I mean, back in the before times, there were coconut carbon filters that worked really well in a manner of ways, but I don't know about this. I'm just guessing.
Food, I will also say at this point, is it's concerning. The fact that you're now on sodas and stale chips at this stage just shows kind of where you're at. And, you know, I would say of all people, Sam, you know that at some point the lethargy is going to start kicking in with the terrible food that you're currently consuming. And at some point, if you don't find something that gives at least some kind of sustainability, you could just wither up here. And you know it is a trip down the mountain at the very, very least.
Y'all, we need to make a supply run. This is not going to sustain us for much longer. And I know of one of those frou-frou places, those fancy grocers where they have the nice food, but they also might have like coconut stuff to make the filters. I think it was like a Circle Foods or a Complete Foods or something like that. I don't know. You know, there's a small town around here somewhere. I can't see it with all this fog.
So to give you a bit of a layout here, just to make it clear, and I do want to know what the intent is here at this point, because it sounds like you're starting to get there, Sam. You remember at least the place where the van stopped. There was a grocer there that you did not get a chance to get to. There is also a world in which, scouting the area around you, you know that there's the trail of which you came up, and then there are two other trails that lead into the surrounding mountainside, and they do decline into the fog, excuse me. But you have not gone down those routes yet, nor have you made the opportunity to try to explore them yet. So I'll make it abundantly clear. There are three pathways, one of which is the one you came down leading to where you've been before. Two are not yet explored.
Ivan, would it be possible for Nessa to have constructed some blunt instruments out of wood for everybody?
This is a great opportunity to talk about what kind of simple weapons you've all managed to take with you at this point, leading it into the stories that you had now. And I wanted a huge portion of us talking about our pathway leading up to this point is to kind of help decide what that was a little bit. And Sam, you had mentioned that you put a 12 gauge through this guy. That thing, you tried to fire that thing at some point in the fog, and it just didn't even click through. Plus, you know, there wasn't a box of shells in which to grab from here. Nessa, you mentioned wanting to actually build something. So what would you have made for yourself if given no other option and only the wood around you? Would you have made like a shillelagh or a club or something like that?
She would have made something that she had experience with. I would like to think that she'd have experience with a heavy hammer and chisel for going with wood. So I would feel like she would have constructed a hefty. Well, it would have been a blunt instrument. Like if she didn't have anything else with her, she would have constructed something out of what's around her. And for anybody else that wanted something.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
How about a ball peen hammer that you had as part of your tools of the trade, right? And this is the last one you have. This is the of your entire toolkit. This is the last piece of your of your professional trade that you've had. The metal is corroded a little bit, but you've been wrapping it in a plastic bag when not using it in order to maintain and preserve its what sheen it has left. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome. I have a couple of just salt levels here. Would it be possible to pop a couple of those into blunt?
This is the time to do it. You would want to definitely take it into blunt. Yeah, you want to put it into blunt. So feel free to roll a couple. Do you want to burn all 5, or do you just want to burn a couple?
I want to. She's still filling things out carpentry wise. Like this was her first foray out to then get like more skills. So I wouldn't mind putting 2 into blunt.
Okay.
I'd want to put 1 into composure and the remaining 2 into spot listen.
Okay, well, feel free to roll out those gestalts while we continue to explore everybody else's, and you have my wholehearted permission to put those advancements onto your character sheet, and I can review them once you're feeling good about it. Though I do trust you, so. I see, Sam. So we talked about this shotgun. Did you want to maybe turn that into your blunt weapon now? Is that maybe something that's interesting?
So Sam, she unloaded it because it just doesn't seem to work anymore that way, and she doesn't want it to accidentally fire a 12 gauge. She turned it around, and now she holds it by the barrel with the stock, just uses a blunt force object now.
I got one just because you're already using an improvised weapon anyway, and that's rough and sucks. So I'm gonna give you one, and say that the stock is plastic. It's a plastic stock. It's kind of one of those. It's a newer. It's not like
It's a new Mossberg.
Yeah, new. Thank you. Yeah, it's not one of like it's not a that's actually one of the situations where rather than having to inherit a vintage 12 gauge, you picked up a brand new Mossberg, and it was just a plastic stock, and oh boy, are you happy. You
My family made fun of me for it. They're like, why'd you get the plastic? And
right. You went cheap.
Now it's useful.
But now here you are, right? So yeah. And Niles, like, I know you put that guy down in the basement. Do you still have that? Whatever you went down with that with? Or is there something else that you're holding on to now?
You mean regarding the weapon that I used to
kill the very first person in your basement when they were screaming for mercy?
I don't think he used a violent weapon to do that. I think it was like a pillow smother kind of deal.
Copy that. Yeah. Okay.
I think but I do think that he has collected a bunch of ammunition because he has it in his mind that, not necessarily even ammunition that we could use, but it's ammunition that I think I've collected over like my time to sort of any kind of powder that I could use.
Copy that.
Kind of like, you know what I mean? So a little bit of accumulations and stuff like that. But aside from that, the only thing that Niles definitely, I think, would have, if you're cool with it, would be a hunting knife.
Yeah. I think it would not be difficult to be able to pick up like a survival or hunting knife at any point down the trail, even if it's just picking it up from one of the bodies. You saw, which I feel is a very Niles thing, to basically just at some point just bend over and pick up a knife just because it's there.
There was a dead hunter in the woods or something, but
or in one of the little towns, because it's a carbon steel blade. It's still showing wear from just being exposed to the fog. So not unlike what Ness is doing with her ball peen hammer, you're doing your best to preserve it, keep it in its sheath whenever you can. But yeah, no, you can absolutely take that. Which leads Jonah, what did you hold on to?
I think,
if anything,
it would be either was found or kind of makeshift a bow, especially because having Nessa, who is a carpenter, that makes this a distinct advantage at maintenance of like the bow itself, makeshift arrows because of running out. Maybe literally it's like okay, none of them really last. It's not like retrieving arrows. It's like relying on Nessa to be able to help make more that fundamentally flies straight instead of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I will say that Nessa's totally on board with shaping the best possible bow and arrows for Jonah. And then also, she has an ability that if she crafts construction or repair mission with a named material, gains +2 competency points towards the labor needed to accomplish the task.
Okay. So technically, if we had made this prior, we can say that you used one of those competence points in order to make sure the crafting of it. But I am giving.
I gain 2 competency points from making something out
from
of
making it.
From making.
Well, then that's pretty great, because what that's going to do is everyone had 2 competence points in which to start the session with, but I will give you 4.
Nice.
For that purposes. Niles, you have 2, and Jonah has 2, and Sam has 2, and Nessa has 4.
Nice.
Competency points. And competency points, just so that you understand how they play out or what they do basically allow you a degree of success. It's basically buying a degree of success is what it is, for however you want to use and go into it. Okay. Well, then, Jonah, I am putting a bow onto your situation here. I'm doing a very unique thing. I'm putting a capacity on it. There's and for arrows, I am limiting, obviously. Let's say 10. Yeah, you had an opportunity to get into it, but let's give that a shot at the very least. And I'll continue to put people's weapons, especially as they become relevant down the line. But I am now at a position where you know you need to go get food. You've heard something wailing down in the fog, whether it was a hallucination or not. But the question that is so important to answer right now is what do you want to do?
The big question.
Let's go see that potentially mountain goat and maybe eat it.
If it is an unfortunate person, they might have also had supplies. But maybe a main goal would be to make it to Circle Mart.
Circle Foods or something like that.
Indeed.
The fancy food place they built recently in the nearby town. But the goat.
I'm from Macon. You know, there's a whole lot of small businesses that survive there. So.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So which pathway are we going down? Are we going down the one that you all came up from?
I feel like we should just go back the way we came, because we don't. I mean, last time I hiked these, I was like 8. I don't remember the other trails, but I know that we came up this. We can go back down it. Who knows what happened to the other ones?
Okay.
I don't have any problems playing it safe.
Great.
What do y'all think, though?
Safety is better. Safety is
We could check out the goat sound.
Better the trail, you know.
Yes.
Well, as you all begin to don your suits, you put together the materials that you have. You bring some food. You bring a couple of patch kits that you've managed to put together as part of this, this experience of like knowing at some point these hazmat suits could get damaged. So between duct tape and basically large metal bags of chips, and plastic bags of chips, you've managed to put together a couple of patch kits, which you've had to use once or twice already, just because of small tears and things like that. And you basically tape up the bottom of your boots, make sure that the gloves are all secured onto your hands, and you put the masks on. You put the full 2-filter hazmat suits on, and you begin your descent. You begin your descent down the pathway, knowing that this is the best time to put it on because it does not take long, 15 minutes, half an hour from the switchback before your visibility starts to get diminished. And it is a lot like descending into even Lord of the Rings when it has that like murky bog when they're in the sea of the dead, like and there's all the bodies down there, and there's that coat of fog around it. Like in Frodo fall, like he goes into the water, right? He falls into the water and he feels like he's encompassed into it. This is so much that as you are descending into the fog, it is almost as if you were wading into a pool, into a giant lake of just murky, white, gray, semi-reflective water. And as you begin to descend, this anxiety starts to well up over you again as you remember just what it took to get here and just how comfortable you were in the upper regions of this fog, eating junk crap food, but still not having to wear this, and just the like plastic that you're having to look through as your visors go down. There is just foreboding feeling of just feeling encased and trapped, almost as if you're all astronauts leaping out into deep space with just this sheen protecting you from annihilation. So some time goes by, and oops, and a roll happens. A roll. And you begin to kind of have an uneventful descent. You switch back. You can see one of the first things that you do notice is that the trees, which were still had leaves on them when you were making your way up last time, you have seen that they've all been stripped down to their bare twigs and branches, not unlike what Kia's background is a little bit, as far as just every single tree appears to have been stripped of all of its organic foliage. As you occasionally walk off trail and find yourself moving into what would be either, underbrush or growth pathway, you can, even through your masks, even through your hazmat sets, you can hear the crunching in front of you, as it's basically like walking on dried leaves, even though you know that the air around you is thick with humidity. Now, who's taking lead on this kind of formation that you're making as you're moving forward? Who's walking ahead?
Sam,
who's
maybe?
taking
I was gonna say, I was thinking this thing
I'm
is
down.
Yeah. Like I'm seeing Nessa like trying while they're walking to take a closer look at the trees, like to see how the bark is doing, but she's not leading.
Okay. Do you want to do a check to kind of see if you can glean a little bit of information off of this, more than just because if you're just casually looking, it can tell you exactly what it looks like. But if you want to try to like get all sciencey about it, I'd make
As
you want to make a roll
sciencey
for
as
it.
she might know. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd love to.
Okay. I think for the all intents and purposes, I'm actually, because I'm typing up formations in here as well too, so I know exactly where we're at. Nessa, as you approach one of the trees and cautiously, casually, kind of, break off a twig, right? Just a little tiny click onto one of the trees, you can tell that it's burnt. Like it looks like someone burnt the tree, charcoaling it, but it's not charcoaled at all. Like obviously it is so it is so soft and pliable, but it's very much dead. The wood died a long time ago, but what is interesting is just how gummy the actual wood is itself, how pliable It is. It almost feels like as if it was green and fresh and new when you could move it around and bend it together, but it is so much dead. If that makes any sense.
Definitely. Okay.
So with Sam leading, I would be so honored if you would do our first roll of the session an hour and 15 minutes later, and give us a navigation check.
Okay. All right. What would that be? A D100?
It would be, we originally were going to do Weekend Warrior, but I think because of the amazing sheets that we have at the moment to make things so much easier. The one thing I will say, yeah, no, this is good. We can just go with a navigation check at the moment. So.
Okay. So my navigation. All right. Ooh. D100. Here we go. Hey, I got it.
So take that number and compare it to your navigation. And is it over or under?
Oh, it's under. It's under by 10.
It's under by 10. So you have a degree of success, which is how this works. Every 10 under your target number, which is your skill, is a degree of success. So you can use that degree of success in circumstances like this to, get a narrative win, or at least in the case of what I'm asking you to do. It actually just, I'm giving you a little bit behind the scenes, but the resolution of this is just that you don't get lost, right? And that you actually find that not only do you not get lost, but even with all of the dead foliage around you, the trail is familiar and you make up time. And even though there's a few confusing points, you do the switch back appropriately, and you do find yourself down the mountainside into the foothills leading into the broken parking lot. That is the trail ahead from which you began the descent up leading into this area. And the lot in front of you, it has 2-3 cars maybe here, weekenders, backpackers, God knows where they are now. But the first thing that strikes you, Jonah, that you see when you get in there is just how rusted and just decrepit they are. And it takes a few minutes for you to even find them, because as you're coming down from the trailhead, you're suddenly walking on crunching black darkened leaves, and it's pavement. You walk onto concrete in front of you, and a few seconds later you see a rusted, decrepit looking sedan in front of you that looks like it looks like it was underwater for 6 months with how rusted it is.
This fog doesn't make any sense.
Could you do me a spot listen real quick?
Absolutely. I'm not terrified at all. Oh, that is not underneath. I needed a 33.
Okay, so it's 2 degrees of failure.
Yep.
In this regard, as you're just peering into this this broken car, this terrible thing that's laid out in front of you, you can see that the car is just inside. It had leather seating that was kind of around, and you can see that it's been pockmarked and blistered, the leather seating that's onto it. And even though there was probably supplies at some point inside of there, you can see there's like a backpack, there's there's books, and there's a couple of like appeared to be packed items inside of there. They are withered at this point. They all look like they were burnt and then immediately smothered out, like lit on fire and then slowly put out as the edges of the paper have curled and yellowed. And it is it's, even though the windows are rolled up and the door has been shut, you definitely see that the fog has permeated into this car enough to have an effect onto it. So
do we remember what the issue, like what was the issue with our van, like why it stopped?
I mean, it was running, and then it literally just engine died.
Hmm.
Do we know if there was like a part that made the engine die? Like,
I mean, that is we can have that. Do you feel like Jonah would have taken the time to pop the hood and take a look at it?
yeah, because I was thinking if Jonah is noticing this car, part of the reason might be to see if there's like a piece that could be replacing the old one.
Sure. Well, as you pop the hood up on this thing, oh yes, and make a lift pull to pop this hood up because
Oh no.
this is a
Oh
process.
God! Please don't be like booby trapped or something.
That's fine. That I'm fine with. Oh, that is not great.
No.
Ah, a 3. I succeeded. I needed
Awesome.
a 28.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
And this is great. I'm happy we're doing the rolls, but if you do want to click your skills as well
Oh,
too,
it'll
we
just
can
do it?
actually click through it as well too, and it will do it for you, and they even
Oh,
give you
that's
the
beautiful.
degrees of success that you're having as well too. But we're not taking your 3 away. It's you can
Now I
can
know
have
for the next terror that you put me through.
Jonah, you basically take your gloves, you know, these thick, padded, awkward feeling gloves, and you so carefully take the door and pop it open so that you can open up the side door, and you feel a crunch, almost like a snapping of a twig, as the metal just clicks and pops, and all of you hear it just like echo into the area around you. Though it's muted, it'd be difficult to echo in the fog. It is muted. It just pops all of a sudden, as if you're just in like a an audio booth that just has padded walls, right? But you open it, and you just as it opens, and you manage to click the latch release, and slowly, making sure not to cut your gloves, you put your hands underneath the hood and feel the latch, and again hear that sickening as your door, or as the hood pops open, and you see an engine that looks like it's been sitting in the middle of, I don't know, sitting in the middle of the woods maybe, but it's so weathered and it's so corroded and it's so rusted that you can physically see the carbon deposits on top of it. And if you were to take your glove and just even brush the engine block, you would actually seal as metal basically is peeled away, as carbon chips are just rusted, or rust chips are just peeled off automatically. That being said, the plastic tubing looks to be in great condition.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get the plastic tubing. If nothing else, like that would probably be good for masks or any other filtration we tried
Great.
to do.
Okay, then does anyone want to help him? Because at this point, you've all watched Jonah basically stop and pop the hood of this sedan at the
Kind of
I will
impressive
point it
thing.
out.
Really.
Yeah.
Actively point it
That's
out.
what would definitely help, especially with like noticing that all of these natural ingredients, I can't think of a better word, materials, natural materials are all just corroded,
Salvage.
but the man-made ones are factory made ones are all doing fine.
I might actually instead have Nessa take the lead and then try to help them, since they do carpentry work. I feel like they're probably better with their hands and handling delicate things than I would be. That makes sense.
And it's up to Nessa. So
I'd be all for it. Yeah.
okay. Well, so you take some time to basically sit, and you slowly, over the course of carefully pulling off the tubing, Nessa, you kind of take the lead as you hand, because you don't necessarily have any screwdrivers or anything in which to take some of the banding off. With Niles's knife, you're able to basically just carefully cut and peel
I think Nessa
away.
would grab the the thing that keeps the hood up. That's curved at the end. If it's corroded, you could yank that off.
Yeah.
And that could easily be a thing to then.
I'm remembering now, Markia actually knows mechanics here. Like, I forgot you actually know how to work with cars.
Oh, thank God. I was just doing it for roleplay purposes. Gabe would have made some nonsense up.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're basically making for all intents and purposes, a small metal
It's
switch.
it's like a makeshift wrench, where if you yank off the thing that the hood, of course keeping in mind whatever the year of the car is, it seems like it's an older car.
Yeah, it's not a hybrid, so it's basically
right.
like a
I don't know hybrids.
yeah, like a 2010 to 2011 sedan kind of a situation.
Perfect.
So,
yeah, yank that off. Pinch the actual it's like this little hooked part that sits into the car.
I hear you.
Pinch that and utilize that as a makeshift wrench.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, and that's again very specific and very delicate to be able to kind of get into it. But the goal is, from what I'm hearing, is that you are going to be harvesting as much resources from this car as you possibly can muster. So
factory made, non-eroded parts,
non-corroded, non-rusted, factory made.
Focusing completely on tubing, and there isn't actually that many tubes.
Nope. Mostly exhaust, mostly stuff that's going in from the radiator and things like that. So I would love everyone to make a spot listen check while we do this.
Oh boy.
So
and I'm going to use my fancy sheet to do all the work for me this time.
Use the fancy sheet. Use this fancy Roll20 sheet, everybody.
That's pretty cool. I just want to state for the audience's knowledge that I've been running games professionally for about a half a decade now, and this is my first time using Roll20, and it's pretty sweet. I'm digging this. I'm just trying to find my skill. You wanted a
spot listen.
Spot listen?
Yeah.
So I rolled a 4, and the 2+ is saying I have 2 degrees of success, correct?
That's exactly how it works. Yeah.
Easy.
Is our multiplier 1 for this?
Multiplyer's 1. Yeah. There's
what piano?
Oh, Niles.
9.
Oh no. Okay,
Oh, look at that.
I'm gonna roll. I think. Spot listen. Submit. Multiplier. Oh. I think I did it right.
So in this regard, yeah. So Niles, you're very focused at this point. In fact, you're immersed in kind of what's going on at this stage as you're kind of getting things together.
Zoning out and staring at the surgery that's being done on the car, not really paying attention to anything else.
You have a lot on your mind, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's going through Niles' mind right now?
God, this is kind of bleak, but honestly, what I'm picturing,
it's a bleak game.
I'm picturing one of those quiet moments where Niles just starts to stare at something, and it's not so much as a thought, but if you had a mic that you could put up to his brain, you might start hearing sort of an ambient low, just like a static building in the back of his head as he's staring at the engine parts and watching Nessa remove something, watching Jonah like fiddle with it and hearing the scraping of the metal. Like he just starts like literally kind of zoning into it.
I mean, makes sense. It's just you're basically absorbing all of the sounds around you because it's much better than feeling anything. Niles
has been hanging by a thread for a long time.
Right. And so at this point, you are paying attention to all of the sounds around you, and you can see nothing because the fog is so thick around you. And at that moment is when you begin to notice, Niles, that like there was a car seat in this car.
There was a car seat?
There was a car seat in the car, and that's so focusing. You just start going through the process in your brain of like, where are these people? Where are they now? Like, what happened? What is their fate? You are here sitting, staring at 3 people taking apart a car, but all you can think about is the owners of this sedan and where they could be at this moment and what the final destination of the occupant of that car seat was. Jonah, Sam, Nessa, at the same time as you're pulling things through, looking into it, you see shapes just kind of like a darkened shape. Like there's a haze that the fog permeates, right? And it is when in thick fog, you see nothing, absolutely nothing. But shadows still exist inside of the fog when light is blocked, briefly, even for a moment. And it's hard to tell. It could be midday, it could be evening, it could be dusk. But you would know. But you do know that for a brief moment, the light is blocked towards your kind of, I would say, 3 o'clock position. From if you're all looking down onto this hood, from your 3 o'clock position, a shadow is played into the fog for the moment, and it seems to go just quickly across your field of vision before the blanket of fog continues to normalize in front of you.
Y'all all saw that, right? That wasn't just
Yeah.
me.
Yes, did not enjoy that.
Niles doesn't even respond. He's still looking in the back seat. Not even sure he heard Nessa say anything.
So as you continue to look and continue to stare, you pull the tubing that you've got. You're, easily almost done at this stage. So
Maybe we should keep on pushing on.
Oh, sounds like a good idea. I don't think we should stay around here.
We're leaving?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you good, Niles? Well, relatively
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
all right. So Sam, are you continuing to take lead as you're heading into town now?
Yeah, let's get out of here. I take the lead and start walking down what's left of the kind of paved road. It's kind of corroded now. Just
All right.
press on.
So on your character sheet, all of you, there is a white dice that is part of your character sheet. You'll see it's kind of where the dice pool is.
Oh yeah, okay. Where it has the colored squares?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cool.
I would like you all to do a drop down, and for the white dice, I'd like you to put 1.
Would you like for us to make those D6s?
I would love for you to make them D5s.
Okay.
The way it's currently defaulted at the
okay.
moment. And then you can click the dice pool, just like I did right there, if you'd like. So.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So here's how this works. You just roll depletion for your filters at this point. Okay. What you have on you is what you're able to. If that depletion roll ever goes beyond the capacity of your filter, they're gone. They're done. Absolutely done. The filters no longer work. So most of you have a capacity of 30 for your filters. Right now you're rolling 1 dice, but as you continue to move forward, more dice will be rolled. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So Sam, you continue to take the lead as you are, again, pitching the trail. That shadow doesn't appear again as you move through the lot. You're slowly stepping into it as you get closer and closer. And you continue to kind of see the driveway, the road that was leading into this parking lot, and you begin to walk down this 2-lane street that is again sitting at a significant descent as you descend deeper into the fog. The broken, dismal trees around you are now just sitting around you. They are literally just continuing to, it's a normalized experience as you continue to kind of go into it. It's a familiar setting. And you walk and you make another navigation check is what you do. So
Navigation. All right. Was it spot listen or it's something else?
navigation.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Let's do it. Okay.
So 1 degree of failure. So how that flies then is that as you continue to walk, it starts to, you're going through the process. You're continuing to just follow downhill, right? Your visibility is awful. It's 5 feet in front of you at the very, very best. And you swear as you continue to walk down the hill, you see occasionally a shadowed movement, again, continue to move around. It's brief, it's there for a moment. It could be a tree because there's just, again, hardly a thing around you. And really, the only thing that you're continuing to look upon is the concrete that's in front of you as you put foot after foot in front of each other. And shadows are just dancing around you, as the only thing you can see with any kind of crispness has to be within arm's reach, basically. But as you continue to move down and down and down, you are the first one to basically see a sign in front of you, a like what appears to be 2 posts with a metal sign, and you almost run into it before you stop yourself and backpedal for a second, and you see this giant corroded sign in front of you that looked like it had words on it that says "Welcome to the town," but it has been corroded off, so it looks like something that, again, looks like it's been underwater for 6 months.
All right, I think we're here. This must be the sign. It's the same size. You can't really tell what it says. It's a little too high up, but I swear this has got to be the sign. We've got to be here. How are y'all doing?
Yeah, no, this I'm sure this is it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, following your lead. I mean, this looks like a town to me.
Okay. Y'all see the shadows?
Shadows?
Did you see that?
Shadows plural, besides what we saw back at the car?
You guys saw shadows around the car?
Yes,
I mean,
Niles.
yeah, Niles. I mean, we talked. Well, not we didn't talk about it with you, but I thought everyone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were they people? Did you see people?
Didn't really see what they were, but
okay.
They moved around. They kind of disappeared.
So we think we might be being followed right now. Do we want to move faster? We want to head back. What do y'all want to do?
Well, it depends. Do we think it's something smart enough to be hunting us? Or if it's just something that's curious?
Couldn't that be the same thing?
Yes, but if it's hunting us specifically, if we keep going, it's going to keep following. So maybe we should instead wait out of the way to see if it goes past.
Could we do that while heading to the store?
That's still moving forward instead of to the side.
Okay. I feel like the only thing that would hunt us is a mountain lion, and I think would that be able to survive this fog?
Nothing about this fog makes sense, so I think our rules are out.
How do y'all feel about this?
I mean, I don't know. We haven't been down here in a while, right? It's hard to say who we might run into down here. And if we're seeing shadows, it might be to somebody maybe heard the thing that I heard, maybe knows that there's supplies nearby. I mean, there's a part of me that thinks like maybe what we need to do is kind of pick up the pace. So, or we could be leading them right to it too. That's always a possibility. I don't know.
Well, Sam, there are other things that could survive in this fog. And then I just look at the rest of the group.
Maybe we should, light a match under our feet real quick and just get to where we're going then. I wouldn't want to be out here with no walls between us and whoever that is.
You know, we're getting close to one of those public bathrooms off to the right over there. It should be about 200 feet that way. Maybe we can keep going forward and then wrap around it and wait for a second. How about that? We're moving forward, and we're also going to stop and listen for a sec. How's that sound?
I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Okay,
As you continue to move forward, again, going into a general direction just based off this simple landmark that you had, you continue to move forward, and after about 200, 300 feet, again, briefly, from where you are, you do see the strong, like, stone structures off of the main road leading into, a public bath. And it's the metal doors are completely rusted, not unlike the materials of the car that are around it as well too. And as you get close to it, again, 5 feet before you actually start seeing details, you can see that the signs on it have been completely, like the male female signs have just been completely corroded and peeling off at this stage. But the stone and brickwork seems to be in relatively good order as far as concrete goes. It's yellowed and it's blackened in some places, but when you press on it just a little bit with your hand, it doesn't squish like so many other things that you've been noticing as well too. You get onto this thing, you just stand onto this thing, and it's strikingly familiar in a weird way, just to again be in this crunching landscape around you, but nothing is around. If I understand you correctly, you wanted to kind of sit here and kind of listen for a bit just to see if whatever those shadows are continue to approach or not approach you. Am I hearing you correctly? Like you're waiting here for a bit?
Yeah.
That sounds right to me. Or were we all?
That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
that
curious
sounds
as
good
to
to
how
me.
long you would like to be able to stay there.
Oh,
What,
probably,
like,
I mean, probably not too long. But if we feel like something's watching us, I say we give it like maybe 3 minutes. If
Sure,
nothing
like less
shows up,
than 10 minutes is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
okay, all right. Um, so you sit for about 3-5 minutes, just standing amongst this just place around you, this oddly familiar area. The shadows do not seem to dance, and there's a part of you that wants to go inside, but then also absolutely not want to go inside. And you kind of stand on the precipice of this weird, almost like if you were waiting to use the restroom at this point, in your full hazmat suits, kind of standing in there, covered in this fog. And again, it's one of those fleeting moments, just that hope that it'll clear up. It's been in here, it's been around for so long. At some point, it's just got to burn off, and it shouldn't be there anymore. But it continues to stay. You watch the waves of the wind occasionally push, but nothing changes. It's silence for 10 minutes before, Sam, I'm assuming since you've been taking lead, you just decide to walk back off into the street towards the town, right?
Yeah, I tell everybody else about it though.
Okay. About that.
I'm just gonna waltz right. All right, see you.
Walk
Bye.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything. How about you?
nothing. I'm wondering if it's just the fog itself makes that feeling of being watched.
As you are continuing to kind of move and slowly start to walk away, you hear something. You don't see something, but you hear it. And it is a shriek. It is a cry, a wailing, moaning kind of pain, as if someone is just in so much agony. And it comes out of nowhere, and it comes close. It feels close.
That's what I heard.
I didn't hear that. I don't know what you're talking about.
can we move faster?
Good idea, Nessa.
You begin to move. You're moving. Are you again heading towards the town? Or where the perceived direction of where the town is?
Perceived direction, I guess. But how does everyone else feel?
Yeah, I just don't want to be where that thing is.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not a mountain lion.
Right.
No.
As you
There's only two things that could survive in this fog. Something that's covered like us, or something that belongs in it. And I don't want to run into either.
So as you begin to move forward, you hear the sound, and again, it feels like you're walking towards it, but that's also the direction that you need to go, but you can't see anything. You make steps in front of you as you begin to kind of again crunch through it. Sam, do me a favor and make a stealth check for me.
Oh, here we go.
I love stealth checks. Let's do it. Okay, I think I got a
Oh, look at that.
bit of a success there.
Yeah, no, that's a 1 degree of success.
Oh, okay.
That plus is a single degree of success. So
Okay.
Okay, so Sam, I want you to narrate for me how you keep your head down and you guide your 3 comrades here past this sound, this wailing sound, without causing attention to yourself.
I make sure to go on the path where there's no twigs or leaves or anything. I kind of guide everybody on the pavement. Yeah. I make sure that we're going down a path where none of the brushes come over, and like whenever there's something close, I kind of hang back a little bit and like point where there's like nothing, just so that we don't crunch on any sort of twigs or sticks that will just give away our location.
As you continue to come past it, you do feel and hear the sound kind of stereo across you as the wailing.
This is absolutely giving me flashbacks of the witch in Left 4 Dead.
Exactly.
Do not shine your light anywhere. Don't go near it.
And it's tough because at some point, Sam, you do see a shadow. It's not the same shadow that you remember seeing. The shadow that was up by the parking lot, where the trailhead was much quicker. But this was like a solitary, taller shadow, again permeating through the fog. And it seems to be curled into itself for a moment as the sound moves by you, and you can hear almost words coming from them as the occasional cries, just declarations. Occasionally you might hear a name, but mostly it's just why, and it's and it moves and it shifts a little bit as it continues around, but the sound slowly starts to fall away from you as you start to see the outline. Again, suddenly just a brick building, just another building in front of you with a glass pane laid in front, and a glass pane that has vinyl letters that have long peeled off for some curio shop that's in front of you as you find yourself onto the main street of this town of which you have come, that you left in order to find yourself onto the top of the mesa. And as you continue to kind of move across each one of the shops, you notice that the bodies that have laid out in front of you, they have decayed so much more than when you initially left. And the glass of these curio shops, you've actually noticed that they have pooled. They're thinned, and at the base of the glass, it is almost like it's thicker at the bottom, as if the glass has melted and is running down like thick agave syrup at the base of each one of its panes of glass. But eventually you do find the broken sign. Broken not because someone smashed a window through it, but just simply because all of the signage is peeling off of this Circle Mart that you see. And now I get to put a map on here.
Oh no.
These poor people.
Oh no.
Okay. Give me just a second as I pull your miniatures.
Sometimes it feels like somebody's watching me.
Exactly. Okay. Will you let me move you over, friends? My technical capacity. Here we are. Hello, friends. Yes. Okay. The window of the shop. Yeah. Wrong one.
This is bad, y'all.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
when you picture like apocalyptic things, the not being able to go outside because the air will literally eat you is not even in my top 15.
Although I really like the tenseness and horror that we've had without having any actual like combat per se.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good. You always know you're having good horror when the scariest things you come across are things like an empty child's seat and the sound of like wailing in a fog. Like,
Yeah.
Okay,
Shadows.
we waited for something. Nothing showed up. That's almost worse.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're all so incredibly sweet. Thank you so much.
Great work.
You're gonna let us live now, right?
No, absolutely not.
That's fair. I tried.
Are you kidding? Not even glass is safe.
No.
What can we do?
I'm gonna walk up to whatever that's making noise and be like, hey, look, listen. You're in Ivan's game too. We work together. We might get out of this.
You're gonna Deadpool the threat.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go right up to the fourth wall and be like, hey, let's have a chat real quick.
Monster, let's talk about it. You don't want to die. We don't, and we want to live. So it's cool. So check it out. I'm one of the reasons I was very excited about running this scenario with everyone here is because I was super excited to utilize Roll20's Fog of War element. You cannot see the map.
Yeah, I can't either.
Okay, I pulled everybody.
See it, but I have to zoom out quite a bit. Put it like 35%.
Yeah. But I mean, we haven't traveled around the map yet, so we're just here at the entrance. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. So you should only see your tokens and the door.
If you right click and hold, you can drag the map up and you'll be able to spot where we are.
Oh, it's not shared with you? Interesting.
Well,
JB, our technical man, needs to be able to see what is going on here so we can actually take a look at what Roll20 is having to offer here. JB, can you let me actually just go back into it and see if there's a settings here that I can get into it.
So if JB's on the Roll20 and you have like the drop down, you were able to drag the player's tag thing to this map, right?
Yeah, I was able to drag the players. So maybe you need to go, JB, and click over. Oh, because you should technically, since you are a player in this, I should have been able to get it into you. So, I should be able to actually. I just did dynamic lighting, but I should have been able to reveal. Yeah, let me reset darkness parameters. Reset the fog. Reveal. Interesting. Well, that's okay. We don't necessarily need oopsies.
I see nothing.
Yes, hide it all. Turn on fog. There we go. That's all better again. But I'm still confused as to why everyone can see it, but you can't, Mr. Tech Wizard. You should not be able to see the entire map. Can everyone else see the entire map?
No.
Not anymore.
Nope, I can't.
Nope.
JB, do me a favor. Just refresh your screen for maybe a second. Either that or I'm going to hop out and make sure that you are not set as a GM, because if you are a GM, then you absolutely... No, you are not a GM, so you should not be able to see it at this stage. Can you still... Okay, great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to refresh, because cookies, right? I want cookies right now.
Cookies.
Actually, my girlfriend just gave me a pumpkin roll. I really want to eat that, but I don't want to eat on camera.
Damn it, man. I haven't had dinner yet.
Okay. Sorry, let's keep going. It's better when you're all starving anyway, because you're looking for food.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So we're using a little bit of roll. So I really wanted to lean into that a little bit. I wanted to take this opportunity to play with the fog of war and explore just what it's like, because this isn't dynamic fog of war where you roll around a corner and then you can just see whatever's down the hall. No, we're going to move. We're going to have an opportunity to explore this place. So you walk into the circle shop as you kind of come into this space. And like I said, the door, for all intents and purposes, like, I just want to paint this picture for you that you've all, as your characters, have probably seen apocalyptic movies. You've all definitely know about what it looks like when chaos and anarchy come into place and people break windows and they run and they loot and they take whatever they can. This place has fog in it. Not as much fog as outside, but there is fog in here, and you can see it just hazing almost, like little tiny bits of just wispy smoke inside of there. But what really you understand is that it is pitch black. There is no lights. This whole place, minus the dull gray light that's coming through the bay windows that are part of this, stores thing, you have limited visibility in here, but not just because the fog, but because it is so dark, and that whatever light you are getting is diffused as it's pushing through the windows. And very, very shortly, when you walk into the door here, or even walk to the window here, you can see that you only see about 2 or 3 feet in front of you before it breaks into nothing. And I should even go so far as to say at this point, you have not even made it in, because the door is shut. The door is shut. And you are unable to, muscle the actual sliding glass doors, the ones that are electronically operated when you know, in the real world. What do you want to do?
Can't see anything in there. How do we get in?
Are these the doors? These are the doors that kind of, the electronic doors that kind of open and slide like grocery store doors?
Mm-hmm. Like grocery store doors.
Okay. Well, those could be still. Those are okay. We know for a fact they're locked because they're not. We can't wedge our fingers between them and pull them open, right?
Well, I mean, you can
try.
You can try. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get a gauge of how secure the doors are by trying that basic action, just to see if it's something that's going to require, like, we're going to have to wedge this thing, or can we open?
Don't all doors like that have some sort of emergency release? I mean, just for fire hazard purposes?
I don't know.
I actually want to try and stop Niles from doing that if I can.
He'll stop. If you move to stop him, he'll hesitate and be like, should I not do that?
Don't touch it with your hands if you can help it, because with the corrosion, it might tear your suit.
Yeah. I don't
Always wedge if you can.
If we break the outside, we're going to let the outside in. If there's a different way for us to be able to do it and then stop it up, that might be good.
Anybody have any ideas? Can we get in from above?
Would you like to look around to see if you can find some kind of alternative entrance?
Yeah, maybe like I don't know why there would be a ladder, but looking around for something to like give access to the roof, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can absolutely look. The question is, do you want to all go together, or do you want to divide?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow standard 2nd edition D&D protocol and not split party.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, because this is scary.
Yeah.
See, the problem is what's
Circle.
gonna happen is we're gonna split up, and then it's gonna be like, oh, it's one of the party members. That's who I'm hearing. It's like, no, I'm gonna kill you. Like, nope, not given that chance.
Well, then, let me take the time to say that well, I would like everyone to make a spot listen check. And remember, you do have competence points if you wish to spend them for the session as well too. So,
Okay, well, let's see.
Come on, Niles. Come on, you got this, Niles.
You know what?
Okay, Nessa. Now I don't feel so bad about failing, which I did.
What are you talking about? Nessa got 2 degrees of success.
That's why I said I was glad you did, because I knew I was gonna fail, and I failed so well.
Oh,
okay.
I even put points into it.
We had
not
2
to be
fails,
outdone.
3 fails, and then 4 fails in a row for failure.
What piano?
So this is one of those beautiful things where, as you're walking around looking through the building, I am very, very interested in hearing how you would like to resolve these failures, because at this point I've been kind of taking a little bit of a handle on how to resolve some of the failures. But one of the things that I really enjoy about this game is that something went wrong. Something happened. You know, Nessa, you definitely found something, which is great. But Niles, Jonah, and Sam, something happened. So I want to hear. Let's start with the easiest ones right now. Niles, like, what happened?
So a failure in hearing something doesn't necessarily have to be that I just didn't hear something. It could be like something happened.
Yes, you need to resolve these degrees of failure.
Okay.
So something occurred that does not work well in your favor.
2 degrees of failure. I think as we rounded the corner to like look for access points onto the roof, maybe there was, like one of the, like a side dumpster that had been left over there. I mean, it is a food mart. So I imagine like Niles went, oh yeah, maybe we could get up on this thing. And as he rounded the corner to like see if they could maybe like position the dumpster, as he's walking around, there's a sound of ripping around his knee as he walks past the dumpster.
Yes.
And just goes, wait, what was that me? And then he looks down and sees a tear around his knee caught on the edge of the dumpster as he was walking around it.
And you
At
immediately
2 degrees?
Immediately. But with 2 degrees, what I feel like is perfect to get this to make it right is it's like a tiny tear, and you take both of your hands and you basically like grab your thigh as fast as you can, and you put both of your hands on it. It's like, oh, does that mean? And you just clasp it, like you just throw a patch. You put your hand, your palm on it as quick as you possibly can, looking back to both of your friends at the moment. Okay, I mean, that is absolutely perfect for it. And at the same time, so you, Jonah, how would you like to resolve your degrees of failure? It doesn't even have to happen in this immediate moment, but it can be a part of this scene that's happening at this stage.
I think, and I don't know if anyone else hears it. I think he's like slightly still hearing that shrieking.
Okay, yeah.
And it's either like he's manifesting it on his own nerves, or like wherever he was around this building, he caught a snippet of it in the distance. And then now he's like constantly like thinking, is that me? Did we actually leave it behind? Are we still being followed by something?
And I think that's perfect. So and do you mind if I add to it? Because I feel like
do.
that's one. But as you're kind of looking over your shoulder, you can hear it. And God, you just know, Jonah, like all it takes is just, you just don't want that thing. Like you heard it cry. You heard it cry a name. You heard it just shrieking. And it's just so unsettling because you haven't had to deal with it since you came up here. And that's the moment in which you feel your feet trip underneath you, and you kind of catch your other foot as you fall forward. and in falling forward, you actually tumble over a Vespa, like one of those little motorbikes, little Vespa motorbikes. You kind of grab a hold of it and you feel yourself tumble as you take yourself and the Vespa down with it all at the same time. Just tumble down.
And that's super unsettling because that's not a quiet sound.
No, it's not a quiet crashes as it falls into place. And so Sam, you basically watch as two of your friends, one of them goes around the corner, and at the same time you hear you do hear Niles like kind of cry out in surprise, and then shortly afterwards Jonah just tumbles and falls barely within your visibility reach. What happened to you? What happened?
Sam was so focused on the surroundings, and she was also super like on edge and kind of terrified, not gonna lie. She heard the crash of the Vespa, jumped up and hit some materials that have like fallen down from the front of this building. Yeah. She hit it and it swings and cracks the glass. I don't know if it shatters it. I don't know if that's
so you hit something and basically watch as a piece of awning or something just snaps from the corrosion and slaps against the side of the shattered the window pane, and you watch as like a spider web just goes across the entire window plane and just comes across it, and you're hearing the rolling of the Vespa as it's coming around, and you hear the cry out as Niles, and you look to it, and Sam, as you stare into this shattered web of just panes in front of you, you see a naked, flesh-covered dog staring at you in the reflection with its fangs bared, growling at you.
I just put my hands on the shotgun that I use as a blunt object and just kind of like ready myself.
Okay, well now it's time for a little bit of combat. So initiative.
Nothing happened with
combat in my life.
Listen.
So that we're gonna get to that, because at this point, Nessa, you see, and this is part of the resolution of this is because you can see the way out. All right. And I want to hear what the way out is from you, but it leads into the building. So.
The look on everyone's face, you described that creature, Ivan. Because like I took me and then I came back and then I was like, oh God, everyone had the same face. This is horrible.
Well,
it was scary enough when we didn't have a thing. I don't know what to do with this.
Now this is here, and this is absolutely. And Sam, when I make it clear, you see this in the reflection, so it is behind.
Okay, so it's not in the store. Okay,
it's not in the store.
So I whip around with holding the shotgun, like getting ready to.
Yeah, bat it across the face if you need to.
Yep.
But so here's how combat works as far as this game goes. It is intent, IPR, or not IPR, intent check resolution. So what we're all going to do is we're going to declare intent, right? And at the top of this intent, Nessa, I do want you to tell me the way out, because you do with your degrees of success, you do absolutely see the way out. But then I want to hear everyone's intent, and then we're going to all pool our dice together, and we're going to resolve it within the time frame of doing our speed. Copy that?
Okay.
Great.
Should we keep our depletion on for each roll?
Oh my gosh, we need to do that right now. Let's do this. Yeah, keep your depletion on. So before we even get into that, I want everyone to roll 2d6 on your depletion.
2d6.
And the white still?
The white. That's the depletion. If you get a 6, it means it is a 5 plus a reroll.
Okay. What does it mean when you roll a 7?
A 7?
Yeah.
As long as you're under 30, which is the capacity for your filters, you are good.
All right.
Scary.
I'm going to be able to breathe just fine when this thing tears me apart. I win.
All right. I'm assuming no one got over 30, right?
Correct.
Copy. Okay. I am getting.
This is fine, man. I've got so much comfort food waiting for me when this is over.
Yeah, I know. I just want like fried chicken right now, or like a hot dog or something.
Yes, both.
Yeah.
Sounds so good. Well, not the dog. Wait, did you say dog?
Hot
Dog.
dog.
Hot dogs, because we're talking about a like fleshy dog thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said it as a joke. Hot dog sounds good.
So yeah, when we're all definitely still within a visible range of each other, but it's close, y'all. It's not great,
Oh no.
right? And here is our future right there. All right, so intent. Nessa, what did you see? How do you get in?
I see a fire escape that is already down. The ladder is right there. It's actually on the other side of the dumpster. If Niles had traveled around the dumpster, he would have seen it. We just need to climb up that. Us bipedal with our opposable thumbs just need to climb up that ladder to get to the roof, or hopefully an entrance into the store, where dogs can't climb.
Great. I will say that for dramatic purposes, that a fire escape wouldn't be making it all the way down to the bottom of it unless someone had already unleashed it. You're going to have to get to it from the dumpster. That's what I'm going to go for it. So with that said, now that that's been described, what's everyone's intent?
My intent is to, if that dog makes a lunge towards us, to smash it over the head with the shotgun.
Okay. So do you want to strike first, or do you want to wait to see what it does?
Oh, jeez. I mean, is it clear, like, kind of in its...
It's bearing
like, what's its body language?
You.
All right.
Yes.
I'm so freaked out. I just go for fight instead of flight, and I swing right over its cranium.
Okay, so you're going to roll 2 speed in addition to your melee blunt stat. So you'll see that on your character sheet. Now don't roll it yet because we have not formed our pools. We do not want everyone to be informed, but it's blunt. You'll see it's in under trained skills. Okay.
Okay, I see.
When the time comes, and you'll be adding 2 blue, and no more depletion, but you'll be adding 2 blue to that's when you will resolve your action. Okay.
Okay.
The next, who else wants? What's their intent? Jonah.
So this thing is visible.
You can hear the growling, but you also heard the Vespa underneath you fall.
Yeah.
And the shattering of glass, as well as Niles crying out in surprise. There's a lot of things happening in a very short amount of time.
I think my intent is just to arm myself, even if it's not because of solely that thing. I think Jonah might be getting a little paranoid that the creature in the distance might be getting close, and no one else is paying attention.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, you just want to ready your weapon. You want to get up and ready that weapon. That's what I want.
Exactly.
Okay. Roll 1 blue, and you will resolve that when that happens.
Got it.
How about Nessa and Niles?
Is going for the fire escape ladder to pull it down so that others can do that. If that means she has to climb on the dumpster for it to then yank it down, cool. Or if it's a jump and yank.
I think we can get away with a climb for this specifically.
Niles gets the words out of his mouth like, maybe it's not going to attack. And then Sam is lunging at this thing. And he's going to pull the hunting knife because I'm not about to leave Sam to fight this thing on her own.
So you're pulling the hunting knife out of the bag. What are you doing with your leg?
With my, I have I think what he's going to do is rapidly apply the patch.
Okay, so rapidly apply the patch and then pull your knife out if you can. Okay. I will probably for that will want a. This is a pretty simple task, but I want to make sure that you still are challenged for doing it. So, this is a perfect part for gear. Yeah, I think we can do this. So what I would like to do now, bear with me here. You're going to be rolling survival. Okay, Niles?
Okay.
However, that being said, because of the patch that you have in place, is you're going to add 20 to this. So when you click on it, you're going to basically use your survival gear. It's called survival kit. Okay. And actually in your survival kit right now, you can put 10.
That's going to be underneath training value bonuses. We're in the gear section here.
Yep. I actually
just did it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, and then when you do survival, what you're going to do is you're going to click this. You're going to go down to survival kit. And you're going to hit submit, and you're going to do a multiplier of 2.
So do I want to click? Okay, so I want to actually click the equipment itself.
Yeah, no, you just want to click survival.
The skill.
Yeah, the skill, and then you'll drop down to the survival kit that will use your training value.
Right. Okay. So
then
I'm clicking survival as skill, and then I'm clicking on the kit.
Yep. And then you're going to do multiplier of 2. And what that basically means is that as the kit goes, as far as this patch is a survival kit for your hazmat suit, and it's a very good one. That's what it is. So that's what times 2 means.
Okay.
And then what you're going to do to continue to make that roll is you're going to also add 2 blue to your dice pool as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. And what that will do is that will basically roll your speed, and then it will also hopefully do your survival check. Because that's the only thing I care about is when are you going to go and when are you going to patch this thing up.
So I've got survival clicked, and survival kit's already going to add into that. You've got the 2 blue. Do I just click dice pool here then?
I believe so. Yes. Yeah.
Oops. What happened? I didn't.
It's okay. They gave you your speed of 9, which is okay. So. And now you can click when it's time for you to do your resolution, and we can all do it now. Now that everyone's declared their intent, the reason this is so important, everybody, is that no one should know when they're doing everything at a time because this is all happening at the same time.
Right.
And you'll have to resolve your speed simultaneously. You can all discuss what you want to do, but as soon as the dice are down, then speed's important because this is basically an organic initiative every single round. All right. So this is how it is. So everyone take their speed. Roll it up in addition to your resolution if you're going to be using it, and so same in your case with combat. Let's do it. So in your case, I believe Niles or not Niles, Jonah, you're going to be basically just rolling 1 speed dice just to determine when you're getting up and getting ready.
Cool.
So
and then that's just straight hitting the dice pool.
Straight hitting the dice pool with 1 blue because you're 1 speed.
Yep. And it's still the D5, right?
Still a D5.
Cool. Awesome.
You can just put it in the drop down of your speed dice and then do whatever your skill is that you're trying to do, and it'll add it to what your roll is. But I'm sorry, Ivan, I forgot what's my speed dice for my climb?
Your climb, it's going to be 2.
Okay, thank you.
Since you're moving and doing an action.
Nice.
And yeah, lowest goes first in the game.
Cool. Okay.
Ugh. You do get to go, but 2 degrees of failure. You have competence points, though, Nessa.
They will be used.
Yeah, I'm probably going to use mine because pretty sure factor of 4 failure is not what I want right now.
No. Yeah. So let's see. I think everybody rolled. Sam needs to roll.
Okay, and then it's blunt for the fighting. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And no multipliers.
You can use your bludgeoning. So when you're training value, use your bludgeoning. The multipliers times 1.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. I got 2 speed.
Okay. So let me roll Poochie Pup.
That's an innocuous name.
This is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. So let's go from speed lowest to speed highest. That's up. Speed 4. You see all of this happening in front of you. Your first instinct is to jump up onto this dumpster. You said you're spending 2 competence points.
Well, I want to make it into a success, so I'll spend the necessary competency points to make that happen, to get this ladder down for other people.
Burn all 3 and tell me how you scramble up this thing and pull this fire escape down. But oh boy, was it sheer luck and competence that you were able to pull it off.
Okay. Nessa sees where Niles got caught on the dumpster and actually sees that there's a number of spots on the dumpster that are like that. So basically does like in gym class where you would do that like leap up where you use your arms. So she does that to get on top of the dumpster, slips while she's doing that, where she then reaches out and that actually grabs the ladder to like pull it down.
And you hear it, you kind of hear the metal just as the rust like corrodes off it, and you actually kind of see as flakes of copper rain down upon you as the metal just slams down, and you hear the clang just kind of push through all of the fog around you as this thing lands. But you see it now in front of you, Nessa, as you kind of are holding it. You can feel actually the cold metal even through the gloves, and there's a weird comforting safety to it as you can start putting hand over hand in front of you if you wanted to.
Yeah. And she's gonna yell, moderately yell to everybody else, get to roof.
Great. So everyone hears, as resolving first, everyone can hear that as part of this process. I believe, who's next? Who is next?
I had a
Jonah.
6. Yep.
Yeah, so Jonah, you're next. How do you want to resolve? Oh no, you just get up. That's right. You get up and you ready your weapon. So kind of tell me how you recover from this and kind of stand around, because you didn't do technically any action, but you got ready for this prep.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be like rolling off to make sure I don't step in any glass, and then like get the bow and then an arrow prepared, and then just like looking around, and it's like gauging the situation. Is there just the one thing that we have to worry about? That thing is over there. That's terrible. Is that the only terrible thing here right now?
it's not the only terrible thing you hear right now, because a cry of surprise, not anguish, but almost like just surprise. You hear it out in the fog somewhere. And there's a resolve into the voice now beyond just surprise and misery. It's almost as if something now is aware, and you can hear it in the fog as now the footfalls of concrete and wet feet begin slapping and coming closer and closer to you.
Hate that.
Now,
That's not nice.
Niles, I believe. No, it's Sam. Sam's up next.
Okay. Let's see. So I got 2 failures.
So here's what's up. Ready? So my creature got 1 degree of failure. Okay. Now, how this rolls is that my degree of failure cancels out one of your degrees of failure, making it less of a failure. Right? But there's still 1 degree of failure in which to resolve in this. And so I can help you resolve it since it's only 1 degree of failure, or you can help me in this regard. You don't hit it. You don't hurt it.
Okay.
But it doesn't get you either.
All right. So, do I describe what exactly happens?
I would love to hear it.
All
And
right.
like I said, if you'd like, I can help.
Okay, I got this.
Good.
So, as I heft the shotgun, she actually has not gone for like a killing blow or anything with this before, so she's not used to it. The fog has kind of made her grip on it like weak, so she swings towards the beast, but it slips a bit and like it doesn't actually hit. It just kind of swings in front of the dog's face, and then
it
the
actually
dog
backs up. It like backs up a second with its teeth bared, almost like doubles back as it looks at you. And that's when you actually get a better look at it, because rather than just seeing muzzle and teeth, it's now turned profile to you. It has patches of fur, but other than that, like small mangy patches of fur, but other than that, it's about as naked as a dog. Like it's almost like someone sheared it and then took a can of red spray paint and then just coated it with red. So it's this angry, like inflamed red look with obviously just patches of fur that have just molted right off and fallen. And even the little bit of movement from baring its teeth to stepping back, you actually watch as another patch of fur just slops right off in front of you. Okay, now leading us to Niles.
Yeah, so that roll.
Yeah, so we got to talk about this because you were ready to patch, and I think I know what happens. So
okay.
Unless you would like to unless you'd like to talk about it with me a little bit.
I was going to ask if I could use competency.
Oh, 100%, all day, every day.
Because I want to try to not, eat shit here. I just want to
you have two competency points.
Okay.
And so you can spend 2 of them to negate 2 of them for sure. You know what I mean? It doesn't completely resolve the failure though.
Sure, but it'll lessen the badness, right?
It will lessen the badness
because it's really bad right now.
I mean, it's not the worst. 5 degrees is the worst. So
but I'm at 4 for the audience's information. So I'm going to go ahead and spend the 2 points.
So spend the 2 competency points. At this point, you've slapped that patch on, and you've slapped it on, and you just get up. Like at this point, it's like you pat that thing on, and you've got your knife ready. And now we're going to go into the next round of intent, where everyone gets to decide how they want to resolve it again. What do they want to do? So we can start with you, Niles.
This thing, it looks like it's going to lunge at Sam, right? Do I have a basic idea? There obviously combat is happening right now.
It is, yeah. And Sam took a swing and backed it up.
But it's not retreating.
It has not run off by any stretch.
Is it possible to do something like a hold action? And because I want to see what I'm trying to figure out is if
you can absolutely hold.
I want to see what Sam's going to do.
Okay.
Because I know we all need to get out of here with this wailing sound and the sound of this thing that's coming towards us. If Sam ends up having to fight this thing in order to get away with it, I'm going to help Sam. If Sam runs, I'm going to cover Sam's escape.
So because hold and survival horror is so freaking vital, we actually made a skill for it. There's literally a hold skill. Okay. And so the way that works is basically just like every other skill. If you have degrees of success in it, you resolve to do the action the way that you want. But at the same time, there'll be a world in which if you don't fail into it, you choke, right? So yes. So basically, for this, since what's the trigger you want to do? Because usually you hold with a trigger, right?
An attack. If Sam attacks this thing,
you want to attack.
I'm going to join the attack. Yeah.
Okay, great. So then in that case, then that's 2 speed dice.
Okay, 2 speed dice. Is that under basic skills?
That's the blue.
Oh,
so you're going to form in your dice pool. You're going to form the blue, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And then what's going to happen is that you can use these degrees of success when you succeed in it. You can use these degrees of success to do everything from aiming, holding, reacting, even Overwatch, even though you don't have a weapon right now,
right,
or a gun. you know.
So the 2 blue dice, I've got 2 selected right now. I can just hit dice pool and we're ready to go.
And that'll give it to you. And then when you're ready, you can roll so that's your speed for this round.
Okay.
Then everyone else is, so that's what you wanted to do. I'm sorry. Then I still need to know what, Jonah's going to do, as well as Nessa and Sam.
So, okay, did Nessa start going up? Was that?
No,
Nessa got it down.
Nessa got the ladder down. She's gonna try to distract the dog to help. One of those tubes that they harvested from the
car.
All of the tubes that they harvested from the car. She's gonna throw that at the dog.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Hopefully aiming for its face, or throwing the tube. And don't dogs like to play with things that are rubbery?
But you just want to throw some of your scavenge at it, is what I'm hearing. Okay. 2 speed dice, and then make a throw, Jack, because that's what
Dennis Nedry tactic. Fetch this stick, boy. Fetch this stick.
Like, come on, boy.
All right, Jonah, how about you?
Since it doesn't seem like anyone has gotten super hostile towards the dog, I think I'm instead going to try to go up what Nessa pulled down. Partially with the intent that if I heard something, I want to try and see where it's coming from. So I'm trying to get higher for that purpose anyways.
So you want to get up to, you basically want to move yourself up to go get to the dumpster where Nessa is.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Well, that'll take 2 speed dice just to have you get up there and climb up.
Easy. I say that, but
it's fine. And then finally, Sam, are you going to take another swing, or are you backing away?
So after Sam misses, she sees that it is a dog. Like at first she thought it was like some deformed monster, but she thinks it's just a dog that has been affected by the fog, and she actually kind of feels bad, but also wants to defend everybody. So she kind of goes off to the side, and in between the dog and her friends, she just kind of like positions herself and readies herself for, another swing in case the dog comes at her.
So you wanted to basically do a tactical retreat,
yes.
Waiting for this thing to kind of come towards you. So you're all kind of backing towards, from what I understand, the dumpster and everything. Okay, great. Then I'm going to draw a shape so I can draw my dumpster here real quick. Hi, dumpster. That you're all on.
Also a great title for this episode. Hi, dumpster.
Hi, dumpster.
how we managed to do.
I love it so much.
Ooh, there it is.
All right, great.
Awesome. Safer over here.
Now, in this case, I want everyone to roll their speed, and then if it doesn't sound like anyone's doing any rolls except for Nessa doing her throw. So,
okay. I rolled speed. It shows me numbers when I hover over it, but if I don't, it's just the hunter's entertainment symbol.
So the hunter's entertainment symbol. Check this out. That means that you got a hunter. Means you got an exploding dice, and if you hover over it, you got a 2 + 6 + 1. So it exploded, which means you had to re-roll it. So technically, your result is a 9 for this round.
But isn't that bad because I went low?
Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
He said gleefully, yes. That is correct.
I was like, that's awesome. Wait a second.
Damage explodes too. And depending on how merciful the GM is feeling, a hunter's result can either be discarded or it can explode. So that's kind of GM fiat. In this case, that's why it's a custom symbol. Do with it as you wish.
Neat.
But yes, so let's get everyone in place. So you have 9 for your speed and 4 for Niles at the moment. So let's get everyone else's speed up, please, so we can resolve this.
Is that
You've got yours, Niles, but let's
Yeah.
see. Oh, Nessa's got their. Oh, you got 4. That's right. So I just need Sam's speed. So
Okay.
two-
Is it still 2?
2, please. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Beautiful.
There it is.
Okay. So it looks like Niles and Nessa actually go at the same time.
Okay.
I am going to be using my last competency point to not make that a failure.
Okay. Sure. I mean, in this regard, you spent your last competence point. It's just a wash at this stage.
Yeah.
But it's not bad.
Not bad.
Why does it say Niles? Or is that was you? Did I roll? Or was that me? Why does it say your name? Did you just try to do a roll, Niles?
Not now, no.
Oh, it just messaged it to you. Okay. Just for public perception.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then I need my speed. Ugh.
By the way, if anybody's ult is up, feel free to use it now. Nobody wants to save all of our lives. It's okay.
So now it looks like Sam, you and I get to go. Or I'm sorry, no, this is 100%. So you make your hold check, Niles, so that we can see if it went off with a success or not.
Okay. And this is to determine whether or not I'm attacking the dog, because I got the impression.
What it literally means is if you succeed in this hold check, if the dog attacks, you will be able to use your degrees of success to react.
Okay, great. So I'm just rolling those 2 blue dice then.
You're not even rolling the blue dice. You're just clicking on hold and doing a check with hold.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where can I find hold? Is that on basic skills?
It is. It's in basic skills.
Okay, great. Spot, search left and left. There you are, you sexy.
It's alphabetized.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to click hold and then just click roll die.
Yeah, just click roll die because there's not a whole lot of gear that's going to help you right now.
Here we go.
Oh, it did speed again. Why did it do that? Take your dice pool and take it all to 0 and then click that skill again.
Okay, let's see if I can. What are you doing here? What are you doing?
Yeah. Welcome to Roll20, Eric.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to click hold.
Yes.
And then, my blue dice is at 2. I just put that back at 0.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I click hold, and that's it. I'm just gonna click dice pool now.
Yep. No, don't even click dice pool. Don't click dice pool. Just click OK. So when you click on hold, it should have a pop-up window.
Oh, you know what's happening? Okay, I see what's happening. So I'm gonna input gear value. I don't really have any.
Nope. Just
multiplayer is 1.
Yep.
Submit.
There you are. Okay.
Okay.
So you have 2 degrees of success.
My window had popped out. That's why. Okay.
Yeah. So this is super important, Niles. This is important because the dog went immediately after you.
Okay.
And Sam also goes at the same time as the dog goes.
Mm-hmm.
So the dog has 2 degrees of success. Okay. And is now going to be using those degrees of success to jump onto Sam and attack her. Right. But because you held and you're going at the same time, you can now use your degrees of success to either stun it, throw it off. Narratively, it's a win for you. All right. You can even use it to cancel out its successes if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
You're going to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
To further go down that path, could my wash help jar the dog a little?
So I know exactly how your wash works, and I can't wait to be able to describe this.
Excellent.
But at the same time, Sam, you if I remember correctly, your intent wasn't to attack; it was just to securely back away. Yeah, to defend.
Back away.
But then, there wasn't a check involved in that process. You were just kind of backing up and putting yourself between the animal and your friends. So, I imagine this happening. You swing at this dog, backs up as it kind of goes out of the way, and you back up and you slowly get the view as you heard Nessa from the dumpster say, "Get to the roof." And so you back away towards her voice. All right. And you slowly see them as distance, but in the process of getting closer to them, the dog falls into the fog, away and out from your vision, just disappearing from where you are. And a very tense moment kind of passes as you're backing up, and you wait if the dog has actually disappeared or not. And at that moment, you see the dog run into your field of vision as it's going for you, and it is starting to skitter, all four of its paws just running into a galloping kind of gait, and it puts its two hind legs down as if to leap up to you at the moment. At that moment, Nessa, you throw the tubing right at it because you're waiting to see if this thing's coming towards you. And you throw the tubing at it. You don't hit the dog, but you basically hit to the side of it as you kind of hear the loud tubing, kind of like the plastic skid as it like slides across the pavement. And the pathway of that tube actually leads your eyes to another running shape from the shadows as this woman with stringy blonde hair and clothes that have been decaying off of her, and just like the dog, she is just covered in red welts, and her whole body looks to be completely inflamed, in skin just starts just like moving at a pace. Her feet, with shoes that have been basically melted off at this point, continue to slap onto the pavement as she runs towards, and she looks down briefly to acknowledge the plastic before looking at you with red bloodshot eyes staring at you. And the dog and her kind of acknowledge each other for a moment before the dog turns back around, but instead of running, kind of decides to come around before Niles. What do you do to kind of like just
Cancel
get the
dog's
dog
success.
away? Yeah, for the moment.
I think he's trying to stab it, but he ends up punching it more than stabbing it while it's
Right.
like in mid-flight.
I think if I may be so bold, I think at this point you punt it like a field goal. You know?
Oh, okay, yeah, that could work too. If it hasn't left the ground yet, definitely. I thought it was mid-flight. If it's on the
Now,
ground,
mid-flight's way too cool for this game.
okay.
So, you know.
Yes, I will absolutely. I will try to go for the 50-yard field goal on this dog.
So you do. So you basically take it, and as it tries to come around to get a new angle onto Sam, you just kick it, and it yipes as it backs off another 5 feet or so. But now, this haggard, disheveled woman who's looking now at all of you, making eye contact, looks to you, looks towards your knife, and she holds her throat, and she gives her hand, like holds her hand out to you. You know, stumbling towards you. Just go, kill me, as she moves towards you as quick as she possibly can.
I am going to reflexively, just to add to that narrative, Niles reflexively apologizes to the dog as he kicks it. Like, sorry.
Enough. Absolutely.
And then I mean, I guess that's my action, though, isn't it? I don't have anything else to do.
You thwarted this thing as it came into it. So now it's now
Sam?
No, Jonah.
Oh, Jonah. Okay.
Yeah, Jonah. Basically, if I remember correctly, you got up, so you're next to Nessa now on the dumpster, and from a very kind of better perspective, you can see everything that's going down with your friends, not but like 8 feet away from you at the moment.
So her saying "kill me" was loud enough?
Oh yeah, she's. I mean, I say it under my breath so I don't wake up my kid, but she's screaming it right now at you.
I'm gonna try to put her down, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as your next one, you're gonna
fire my bow.
Okay, fire your bow.
And I'm gonna go for a headshot if I can. I feel like that's going to be the, like, for lack of a better word, most humane way to do it.
Oh well. everyone wishes they could have a headshot in life, but yeah, center mass. It's probably your best bet. But yes, so on your next intent, which is this next round, you can absolutely do that as your intent. But since you kind of already declared to get up there, this is kind of the new position that we're in at the moment. So that being said, we now know what your intent is. You just want to shoot your arrow. Just try to take one. Just hit her if you can. But how about you, Nessa? What do you want to do?
Nessa's gonna pull her ball peen hammer. I mean, she also heard this. Is up on the dumpster, so hopefully the dog can't get up there. She has her hammer at the ready.
Taking it out of the baggie.
Yeah, and I guess this is going to be a hold for her.
What's the trigger?
The woman getting closer.
Okay.
Because
so you want to have the high position.
Exactly, with the hammer, but she will hold it up towards the woman. So I mean, everybody knows if you've got a hammer like this and you're running towards someone that they're going to swing.
You're going to get hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so putting a hold in, I'd say it's at this point, since you're not moving, it's a single speed dice to make that happen. So, Sam and Niles, you're only two not on the dumpster at the moment, and you're fending off everything here. What do you want to do?
Well, I focus all my attention on the woman at this point, and try to make my way to the dumpster if possible.
All right, so you want to, again, slowly back away to the dumpster, at least in this regard.
Yeah, but also still focus on, like, the new threat now.
Watch the woman.
Yeah.
Do you want to hold two for the trigger that if she gets close enough to you that you'll attack?
Yeah, I'll hold as well.
Great. Niles.
I mean, Niles' impulse is to kill her.
Okay.
And that's what he did, sort of the mercy slaying the last time. And when she's asking for it, he hesitates and says, I will if you want me to.
Okay. I mean, she hasn't even acknowledged your words.
I had a feeling she's probably on animal instinct, right?
She's just reaching out to you. She's looking at the knife, and it's almost like she just wants a hug. Like she just wants the hug, but she wants that knife in front of you when she takes that hug.
Okay, I'm going to plunge. I'm going to try to plunge the knife into her chest.
Okay. All right. Then 2 speed dice.
Okay.
To do so. In fact, if you're not moving, if you're just waiting for her to come to you, then it's only 1 speed dice.
No, he's going to take the step forward and.
Okay, 2 speed dice then. Then let's roll it up.
Okay. 2 speed
so
dice.
for the bow, am I rolling bow as well as adding a speed dice to my roll?
Yes, you are.
Okay, and was it 1 or 2?
2, or you're standing in place, so it's just 1 at the moment to shoot.
So it's 2.
Oh wait, yeah, sorry. Let me actually check that real quick.
Sure.
We're all rolling D6s, right?
All D6s except for when you're doing the skill check.
Got it.
Trait skill. Bow, crossbow. Oh, it's a pretty involved. So it actually says 3 here. It says 3 dice, 3 speed dice to do it because it's an involved action.
Okay. So that's 3 dice, and that is the D6, even though I'm doing the bow.
So you're doing the D100, the skill check, but then for your speed dice, it's 3d6.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a skill check? Would I be rolling Pierce?
So because of your melee, you'd be rolling Pierce if you're stabbing with it versus slashing with it.
Yeah. Okay. And do I get anything on my gear?
Yeah, you do, because the survival knife, it's a +2, and you get to use your training value. So when you do your training, when you attack with it, go click on your weapon, or click on piercing, and the drop down for training, use your melee.
Okay. 1 sec.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to
so the way to do it is you go to Pierce.
Yeah.
Right. You click on it when it says gear or kit.
Uh-oh.
You do your
Yep.
Okay. You do your slashing, right?
All right. So pierce
Or piercing, my bad.
Yeah,
Piercing,
and then
yes.
gear kit, and I'm going to go down to
Piercing.
Piercing. Oh,
and
right.
submit, and then because it's a good knife, it's ×2.
Excellent. Submit.
And then you'll go at your speed round as well too. Now, I'm so sorry, Nessa. You'll have to remind me what your action was again, because I know you're holding. If I remember right.
Yes.
Okay, so
I'm
it says it
holding, but
right
I
here.
have my hammer up above my head. I held my action for my trigger being when she gets closer.
Right.
To then, like
Take it. Just hit her.
Whip.
Great. And Sam, you were backing up, but you were making a hold action too. Can you make that check for me with your speed?
Okay, and it's still 2 speed?
2 speed, please. Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
We're getting it. See?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm not getting it right now.
Oh
no.
Man, yeah. It's not as intimidating of a system as you'd think. So, okay, well, you, Nessa, you do hold. You absolutely hold, and you can use that degree of success in the process of resolving this. So if they do come up, you can absolutely use that success should they approach in that way. Oh, and actually, Niles goes first, so you move up, Niles, and attempt to stab.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way to use my success to cancel out Niles's 1 degree of failure?
You're far enough away from each other at
Okay.
this point, and since you wanted to use the hold, if you were right next to each other, it'd be a different thing. Even if you had a ranged weapon, I'd say it differently. But since you're just waiting at the dumpster for her to come close, I don't know how you'd be able to help them in this regard. And then let me do the doggy. Okay, well, there's that. Okay, so just so it's clear, since I rolled, the woman got the 19, which for her is 2 degrees of success.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and she's going to be going at a 10. The dog got 2 degrees of failure and will not be doing anything, and will be going at a 6.
Maybe he discovered that rubber tubing.
Yes,
maybe. Yeah. But Niall, since you got closer, I imagine, how would you like to? Because here's the thing: since it got 2 degrees of success against you, as it's coming towards you, it's technically going to be using those 2 degrees of success and your degree of failure to get 3 degrees of success on you. Is what's going to happen. So, at the same time, Jonah's going at like 21. So, Niles, as you kind of walk up, you say, yeah, you're ready. You're going to put her out of her misery. She does. She takes the knife, and it plunges deep into her. Like, you feel like the soft flesh, kind of like the pressure against your hand as the guard presses against your glove, and you feel as the resistance of the skin give away quickly as the knife plunges into her. And she holds you and begins sobbing as much as she can, just is crying inside of your shoulder, and you can hear it through the mat, and her skin is like a potato chip pressing against you as the embrace like crisps and crunches against you. And at that moment is when you start to feel something at your knee, as this tingling sensation starts to creep across your knee, and she's holding you as tight as she possibly can, and she's not letting go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do I get an action here, or is that? That's the resolution.
That's the resolution for the failure, as she's grappled you into a embrace, and you, besides her fingers digging into you and into your mat at the moment, all you can start to feel that patch giving away.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gone, but you're feeling the patch.
I'm just gonna say, can someone get the patch, please?
Yes, can someone get the patch, please?
It's starting to come off. Somebody can get the patch.
Now that goes to Nessa. So, Nessa, you watch this happen. You kind of watch as Niles be like basically steps in front of the woman, and you're watching this embrace happen, and you can hear the words coming from his mouth as he's yelling it from where he is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take my success to go and whack her over the head to finish the job. So hopefully he becomes ungrappled, just like bam.
So I would say for that success, that would get you over to where he and she is at the moment, since it's about 10 feet away. That I would let you like jump off of the dumpster and get over to him to hit her with your next intent, if you would like.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
It's not fair, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking if maybe if maybe it could be like, okay, so what if I don't strike her? What if I just put my hand on the patch, like a very gentle thing? But I think you'd still have me roll for it.
No, it's still an option. You can, if that's actually what you wanted to do, if you wanted to get off there and go and grab the patch, I would let you do that for one success.
I will do that for the one success.
One mulligan. There you go. You get that one mulligan. It's not technically a mulligan. It's perfectly fine to be able to use a hold, something like that, to react because you're waiting and you want to get into it. Is what you want.
But I also just surrendered my high ground, so there's that. So we'll see how
you
this
did.
But
and guess who's firing a bow into the melee right now?
As long as Obi-Wan's not here, you should be fine.
Well, hello there.
Oh shit.
Sam, what are we doing?
Yeah, so I massively failed. All right, so 4 degrees of failure. I feel like this warrants something pretty bad.
I do have a suggestion because the dog got failures as well too.
Okay, well, I kind of have an idea.
Okay.
So as I see, it was Niles who just plunged the knife into this lady.
Yes.
Right before he goes for it, I recognize her as like one of the local store owners or something. And I cannot process emotions. Like I'm a rancher girl. Like I can't really, I don't know. I haven't really worked on that. And that was one of my weak parts of my character was like, emotionally I get compromised pretty easily.
So you see Martha, who you went and worked at this store and picked up, or not at this store, but she was one of the local shop owners, and you knew her. You talked to her every day. Yep. She was one of your gossip, I won't say gossip, but she's just one of the people who you had coffee with. Lovely person. Yeah.
And as I see Niles plunge the knife in, I just go, no, what the hell? That's Martha! And I stumble towards her to try to defend her, and I just completely rip one of my legs, like rip it bad on one of the rebars, some of the rusty rebars sticking out from some, parking lot thingy, like a little hole or something, and just like completely mess up my leg.
Okay, yeah, so you lunge for Martha as if it's, as if you could do something, but it's just there. And you kind of, I would even say I like this in a big way. After this plunging happens and, Niles takes this thing in and holds onto him with every amount of just gripping him, you take both of them down. All 3 of you hit the floor all at the same time. And that ripping, that tearing that you're talking about that happened as like the 3 of you are now sitting there and Nessa has her hand on that patch as much as you can. That was the knife that just came and just tore just a nice clean, not 1 patch's worth of cut, but a significant amount. And there is a pile of you now on the ground. So
I'm gonna manage to kind of say, it's like this doesn't go well.
Yeah. And now Jonah, you do have 1 degree of success, but
May I spend 2 competence points to increase that?
yes, you can.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna spend both.
Okay. Roll for me 3d6.
Okay. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
This is damage.
Oh, cool. So I want exploding. Oh, whack.
Oh,
10. Could have been
Okay.
better.
Now I want you to roll 4 d4s, the white ones, the depletions.
Oh, crap. So you said 4
4 of the white dice. Mhm.
Got it. Okay. 16.
I want you to narrate for me how you put this woman out of her misery, thankfully without taking any of your friends out, but you snap the bow in the meantime because it's just so withered and green from the fog. It just fell apart with 1 shot.
I think it was actually fortunate that they fell on the ground, because when they fell on the ground, she probably rolled a little bit. She might have still been holding on to Niles, but she might have instead, like that horrible moment when, like, in a horror movie, someone's on the ground and someone's on top of them, like going at them, trying to get them. So like rolled, and then her back was up.
Back is facing you,
Yeah.
basically.
So it's like the arrow through, and then it probably just like relaxes and falls onto Niles.
So Niles, you have this knife deep in this woman's guts, and you can feel Nessa below you somewhere holding onto your patch desperately. And Sam is screaming some woman's name who you never even heard of before. And you can see the anguish, and she's not in pain because you just put her through the gut. You can actually start to see the relief and also the pain as it's going towards her face, and you can watch as she takes her hands and starts putting them onto your mask, and her claws pull it down the front of your mask to where now there's a permanent like cut across the plastic as if they're like bars across your face as you're kind of watching her pull her nails down across your face. And that's when an arrow shoots through her throat, and you watch as the barbed point of the blade is centimeters away from your mask as you feel warm blood start to trickle down on top of your hazmat suit and start to spread across the front of you. And this woman has been taken out of her fog-induced misery. But you can still hear the dog growling, circling at this point all around the 3 of you as you're piled on top of each other. Intent. What's everyone's intent?
was the woman naked,
She
or does she have cloth that can be ripped off? I'm
has
thinking my
cloth.
intent is we've got some ripped suits going on, and my intent is like ripping a skirt or shirt off to be able to tie something off.
The clothing's not in good shape, Nessa.
Okay.
As you're pulling onto it, it's been exposed to the fog. It's
All right.
crispy, and
We got to get the hell out of here. All right. Yeah.
Agreed.
And intent is going to the ladder. We gotta go.
are you taking your hand off of Niles' patch?
Does it, if it still needs my hand?
Oh, well, when you put your hand away, you can see that the adhesive is flopping a little bit. Yes.
We are so screwed.
Yourself, I'm on my dumpster.
Yeah. It's literally gonna be like, everyone just make it into the store. And Intent's going for the ladder. I mean, we can't stay out here.
Yeah. I mean,
That's what Nessa's thinking.
yeah. I mean, because Nessa, you abandoned your entire family to stick with these 3 people here, and they're all compromised. Like you just watched Sam's whole suit get torn down in front of this woman in front of you. And, you know, I can see you wanting to pull them up with every amount of energy you have, but there is a part of you that, and it's that little tiny demon in the back of your brain that you don't want to acknowledge, but it's there. And it says, just fucking ditch them. It's just you, Nessa. You got to go. But then, you know, there's also the part of you that is holding on to Niles's patch as well, too. It's tough, but you know it's time to go. And that dog is still there. It hasn't attacked yet, but you're running for the dumpster is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, literally Nessa has nothing to help in any way. We have to go for the store for supplies. That's what she's thinking.
Okay, Jonah.
I didn't have to go anywhere, so I'm going to try to get on the roof and then get into the store. Intent is honestly to leave the woman to the dog.
So yeah. So I mean you put an arrow in her already,
Yeah.
but you're now just basically you've shot this thing. The bow has, you know, it's like in a Looney Tune cartoon when, you know, Bugs Bunny pulls the bow back and, you know, it fires fine, but then when you know, Elmer Fudd picks it up and he pulls it and it's just like a spaghetti noodle.
Yep.
And it just like turns into nothing. That's exactly what happened, Jonah. You pulled this thing back and went into it, but it did not get its shape back at all. It just went from a fully formed, like fully extended bow, and that's where it stayed after it was done.
Honestly, that's fine because if there's a, I can use this for leverage now, essentially.
Great. Sam.
My intent, I quickly realize my mistake and just try to collect myself and get up and try to help whoever's like right next to me, you know, to get the hell out of here.
So you, Nessa, and Niles all kind of pick yourselves up. Niles, is that the same boat? Are you getting up and out of there as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So
yeah, I'm gonna reach down and put my hand on the patch so that Nessa doesn't have to be burdened with that anymore.
Okay. So all three of you just pick yourselves up, grabbing whatever you can, holding on to yourselves. Niles, you push this bleeding woman off of you towards the dog. You can hear it growling, but all three of you pull yourself up onto this dumpster, and one by one, you begin to pull yourself up. Niles, Nessa, or who's last? Who's the last one in the sequence? Niles or Nessa?
Nessa probably made a beeline for it. Oh,
Okay,
no.
so Niles
be last
will
one up.
probably be the last one up. Okay. So Niles, as you go up, you're the one who can actually see Sam's, like, you know, basically the inseam of her hazmat suit just ripped. And she's trying to keep her legs together a little bit to try to maintain any exposure that's in there as possible. But you can see her her jeans underneath it. That's very much there at the moment. So, and all three of you get up to the top of all four of you get up to the top of the roof and look up to the top of the HVAC kind of situations, and you can see each one of these little cubes of air conditioners laid out, and there's a door. There is a roof access door that's right in front of you. It's just a little triangle with a regular steel door right in front of you. What do you want to do? Yeah, go for it. Just
Yeah.
It's locked.
Bash the lock with the shotgun.
Okay. So you're gonna hit it as much as you can. I would love for you, Sam, to make a brawl, or not a brawl.
What?
It could be in theory, actually. If you're good with it, you can.
I think I'm gonna go with. Actually, brawl has one more point, so let's go with brawl.
All right. And add your bludgeoning training value to it.
Oh, oops! I don't think I did that. Sorry.
It's okay. Well, you would have just barely given you a degree of success, is what it would have done. So, because it's always to a minimum of 1. So, which means because you rolled a 36-32, that your bludgeoning, I'm looking at your sheet right now, would have given you 4. So you would have rolled exactly a 32. or you would have rolled exactly a 36, which means you get 1 degree of success.
Oh,
So,
okay, okay.
yeah, which I think makes all the sense in the world to crack that thing down. So why don't you describe it for me?
Okay. I mean, she just hefts it with all her might, and she grabs it. She grabs the shotgun with like the most grip she's ever had, and just goes straight for the lock with everything.
And you hit it like a T-ball.
Yeah.
You know, just watched up, and you kind of watch as the knob just snaps off, because it was a simple key lock, not a deadbolt, a key lock. You just kind of watch as the thing just like dangles off, and you basically are able to jam your fingers into the mechanism and pull the slide back so that you can wrench the door open, and you watch as like the black staircase descends down into this this story below, and you can see the slow, like, gossamer glint of like just posters and various things in there. And you can see, even at least in this part where you're at with the very top with stuff coming up, there's barely any fog. And as you kind of descend down, you can see little wisps of it here and there, but inside it, there is so much less density of the actual material inside of here than the billowing amount that you're in. But it does start to flood in the moment that you wrench the door open. Damn it, fam. Damn it. It's 15 minutes past 9.
Yeah. You got into it.
We got to call it. This is such a pivotal moment, but this is where we have to call it.
I wasn't gonna tell you.
I know. I was gonna wait until 9:30 and then be like, "Hey, so."
Yeah, no, but I think there's no better kind of chapter break than this moment right now, to where you all are, to see how it resolves in the end. But this is one of the reasons I love these games, is because you can end at any beautiful dramatic moment like this, and it still feels like a story of survival, right?
Yes.
Because every moment is so precious. So, you know,
this is the worst part of this. Like, this is I'm mad at you, because this is the horror stuff that I want a resolution to.
Yeah.
Now I'm invested.
Nice.
Hey, well, we can always bring y'all back. I'm fine. I always am like, it's so good to be back in the saddle again. And
or we could just have a resolution where all of a sudden I go, all right, guys, let's get out of here, and I transform into a helicopter.
Yes.
Nobody saw it coming.
Yeah, no one saw it coming.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You're Optimus Prime.
Yeah, nobody. Time. I was like, all right. I'm just
jigs up.
Just gonna come out with this. I want to see how far we get.
We have to do this again in the future, because like you made this whole store map and we didn't get a chance to.
Right.
I know. But
I finally understand the character sheet, so we can't.
The GM's plight
ain't how that roll though. So you know, it's okay. Do me a hot favor and make sure that everybody knows where the hell to find you online, because I'm very interested. You all have got shows that you're doing, so I'm all interested in hearing what you're doing at the moment. So. Go ahead, Campbell, because I want to know too.
Yeah, so you can find me on Monday nights at Q Times, where I'm running Clear Skies, which is our new Star Trek Adventures campaign. Most of the cast of Shield of Tomorrow has returned, and we're on our way through that right now.
So wholesome.
Yeah, it's a good cast. And then on Saturdays, we play Predation, which is a Monte Cook Games publication where a bunch of people have been thrown back into the Cretaceous period, and the players get to play both, like, it's science fiction set in the Cretaceous period, so you get to play survivors stuck in the past, and you get to play the player to your right's dino pet. So everyone gets to play dinosaurs, and
let's not pretend it's basically Cadillacs and dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's Dino Riders and Cadillacs and dinosaurs and Terra Nova, and it's all of it.
I love it.
That's where you can find the stream punks. Yeah,
cool. How about you, Gabriel? What's going on with you?
You can find me Mondays on the D&D channel, 1 p.m. Pacific time, playing through a session of Rime of the Frost Maiden. You can find me on Fridays at 10 a.m. On the Roll20 app channel on my show Tabletop Table Talk, where it's literally just a show about talking with the group and giving suggestions on how they can be more comfortable DMing and GMing, because we always need more storytellers. And I feel like a lot of people are too nervous to tell their stories because of thinking they're not good enough, but pretty much anyone can tell a story, especially if you have a great group to do it. And then you can find me on a channel I run called Mythic Grove. What day of the week is it? It's Saturday. Saturdays at, math is not great, at 4 p.m. Pacific time, playing through a werewolf game, where technically next week is our finale on Halloween. That is also a full moon.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And Kia?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Markia McCarty. As far as RPGs are concerned, well, online RPGs, Tuesdays and Fridays, you can find me here at Hunters Entertainment. Doing Outbreak Undead on Tuesdays, where, yes, we could die at any time or hopefully survive. And there's like mechanisms that the community can kind of help steer the narrative.
Dude, Scry is so cool now.
Scry. It's like the little wizard hat that you see in the upper right hand corner if you're on the app, like with the little purple box to be able to do that if you're a subscriber.
Oh, Kia. We haven't even fully used all of the glories of Scry yet. So picture this. Picture a world in which we play a game like this, but there's a world in which if you're having tasks that require much more time, like an Outbreak Undead, like, scavenging your car or things like that are going into it.
Or like doggy treats. Like
doggy treats.
Giving us doggy treats.
Yeah. But rather than just like instantly rewarding players with stuff as a result of bidding or donating and things like that, the viewers have a unique currency in which to put their time and labor into helping the players complete tasks that they can then use in the game for narrative resolve. So rather than just having the standard Twitch hours watched and being able to like highlight messages or things like that, we're providing narrative resolutions for you, spending your subs and your bits and your time watched into the show as well too. It's called Scry from Foreteller, and we're very excited to see how it continues to apply into your game. So
yeah, and we even have a VOD deep dive if you're wondering more about the in and outs of Foreteller, Scry, and where it will be going with what we're using with it. Yep. But on Fridays, I produce and host a show here at Hunters Entertainment called Hunters Gathering. And yeah, that's Tuesday and Fridays, that's 6 p.m. PT to do this. And Fridays, yeah, for some reason I was like, yeah, you can have a show, just like do what you want to do. So
Art Blanche.
It's like a variety thing. Next week we're going to be watching Vampires versus the Bronx.
Oh, sweet.
And because it's like a Kids on Bike-esque movie, so we have like creators from Kids on Bikes that are going to be joining us, and we're just going to have a real good time.
More content,
just like hanging out, like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 type of a deal with like a Kids on Bike Halloween movie.
Love it.
So that's just going to be a real good time, and I hope everybody just joins us with that. So,
yeah, we need to tune in so we can continue. It's not even about RPGs, but it's just about anything that Kia wants to do that's also fun and may have something to do with the company as well too.
I'll work it around somehow,
And Adriel,
my pumpkin porters, I will find a reason to connect it. But also outside of RPGs, if you are just like really feeling like you want some really good spooky stories, I'm the host, story editor, and narrator of Something Scary. So we have animated horror episodes every Tuesday on YouTube, youtube.com/snarled, and anywhere that you get your podcasts, just plug in Something Scary and you're going to hear me doing spooky multicultural related stories for you. So
awesome. Love it. Adriosa, we have last but not least, what are you up to? So
first of all, that's awesome. I love spooky podcasts. But me, so this is the first time. Thank you so much. I haven't done anything with y'all My name is Adriosa or Adriana, and I just stream video games on my own Twitch channel, but you can find me online basically as Adriosa or Adriosa Gaming. RPG wise, all the shows I was a part of have kind of like ended. So I kind of do one shots here and there, charity stuff. Yeah, no, I do a lot of stuff. I know, I gotta get back into it. I did a lot of stuff on Hyper RPG and also Roll for It as well. I did a charity thing for ALS, I believe, or the Alzheimer's Association, and on Saving Throw show. But that's
those kids.
You know, yeah.
It's great.
Just kind of
well,
doing stuff.
We'll put, obviously plug in your Twitch channel, Having Gaming. It is an era of Twitch streaming, that's for sure. So thank you for everyone for tuning in and hanging out for Roll20Con, in which we give you a little taste of just how different it can be to play this game of survival horror. But make sure to tune in tomorrow because there's going to be more gaming. We have Alice is Missing coming out with a bunch of amazing people as well too. So we have another live play of Alice is Missing with a whole bunch. That
is one of the most innovative, fascinating role-playing entertainment experiences I've seen on Twitch. I have to say, Alice is Missing is extraordinary. It's a well done game. It's fascinating to watch. It's really good.
It was. I saw the first one on Hunters Entertainment. It was amazing. I actually was really lucky, and I got to play test. Partially, I had to do something else, but I got to play test the game a little bit, and it's so good.
It's great. Yeah. No, Spencer knocked it out of the park. He was so nervous that no one was going to get it. It was absolutely the right time to get it for this, and it's going to be coming to stores in December. But right now, you can pick it up on Roll20. If you go and check out the Alice is Missing module, if you want to know what it looks like, check it out tomorrow. We have a whole bunch of just people from all walks of life who are going to be tuning into that one and checking it out, and I'm super excited about it. Spencer, who has been emotionally traumatizing himself for years playtesting this thing, is going to run it again. One of these days, I'm going to get a chance to run it. I'm really looking forward to We're trying to work on a charity stream for Alice is Missing right now where we get a chance to run it. But thank you, everyone, for playing, for allowing me to just ramble for a couple of hours.
So good to game with you again, Ivan. It's been
you too, Eric Campbell. Yeah. Missed your face.
Seriously.
And thank you all to our mods. You stick around all day, every day. You watch this content. You make sure that our space is safe. We love you so much for it. We cannot express enough how it is to have you all be guardians of our lovely little community here. So thank you. In the meantime, if it's late where you are, go to sleep. If it's early where you are, get some breakfast. Otherwise, have an amazing day, and we'll see you all on the internet.